Yeah, Friday.
Bless you.
Here. Frank Martin leading us in on a Friday. Love it after he was media a little earlier this week. We played a lot of his comments yesterday about name, image, and likeness. I think a relatively quiet day when it comes to that yesterday. Didn't hear anything massively newsworthy, and it was a relatively quiet night. A pretty good game in the NBA Finals where the Phoenix Suns take a 2-0 lead against the Milwaukee Bucks, despite a big game by Giannis Antetokounmpo for Milwaukee. It was Devin Booker late with threes, helping Phoenix end up winning that thing 118-108, and now up 2-0, just a couple of wins away from an NBA championship. Bill, anything that got you interested at all? I saw Torrey Craig, I think, might have given the Suns their first lead relatively early on. I think the Bucks got out to a pretty big lead.
Yeah, I couldn't get into that game. I gave it a shot. I gave it an effort, but nope, not what I can get into. I think it'll be excuse me. I think as I move the mic closer to my mouth, I think it'll be close. I think it'll be we're settling in for an England-Italy Euro Cup final on Sunday, and other than that, we are kind of now killing some time until the British Open next weekend. And then really SEC Media Day, and then there's the NFL Hall of Fame game, I think August 5th, and then we get some preseason football, and then we're in football season. That to me is kind of the sporting landscape right now. If you want me to break it down, just point blank, it's
so the NBA Finals are over.
It's done.
I can't get. How much have you guys watched of this thing?
As much as I could.
Very little.
Yeah. What does that mean? Like it's just as much.
Well, we start late, then I have to go to work, so I can't.
That's what I mean. I didn't know if that meant that just when you say as much as you could. Yeah, I'm
it's not over. I mean, I think Milwaukee's going to win Game 3, but dude, Chris Middleton has been awful. Like I actually was crunching numbers. We want to support him because he's from the state, but dude, he's making $34 million. And he has been awful in all of their losses. I crunched his numbers for their wins and losses in the playoffs, and in their wins, he's 50% from the field, 42% from three, and in their losses, he's 34% from the field. He's 21% from three, and he's averaging 18 points in losses, 28 points in wins. He just disappears so often, and it's got to be mind-numbing if you're a Bucks fan because one night he can score 20 points in a quarter and completely take over, and the next night he's just 0 for 9 from three. It's very, very frustrating, and everybody has an off night, but he's got too many. And when you're a max player, you can't really have off nights, and you certainly can't have them in the NBA Finals. He's just disappearing so much.
5 out of 16 last night for the former Porter Gaud standout down in Charleston. 1 for 6 from three, 11 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. Yeah. 42 for Giannis, and only a couple other players, Middleton and Drew Holiday, the only other two starters in the double figures. And Pat Connaughton comes off the bench and actually does hit a few threes, 4 from 9 from three, but 29% overall is what Milwaukee shot. I think in the second quarter when the Suns extended the lead out to 10 at halftime, I believe it was, maybe 11. They were 6 out of 24 shooting or something just absolutely brutal like that. You're not going to win the finals games, especially when the Suns are playing well. They got all their starters in double figures, 23 for Chris Paul, 27 for Mikal Bridges, Devin Booker with 31. He goes 7 of 12 from three. They shoot 20 out of 40 from three. Yeah. Suns did with, I think, 11 in the first half.
And the Bucks still made it a game. Giannis was incredible last night. It's just I feel bad for Giannis at this point. He's playing on a bum knee, and he's carrying the entire team. He had 20 points in the third quarter, which is the most since Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan, I don't know if he was the only other one or the most recent one, but I think he might have been the only other person to have a 20-point quarter in the NBA Finals. So, I mean, Giannis is carrying this team, and just nobody's helping him out in a substantial way. It's kind of brutal, but I kind of expect, because this is what Chris Middleton's been doing, him to go for 30 in Game 3, and people will be all on board with him again, and they need to win Game 3. I hope that it can be a little bit of a series.
Well, there's something to being a streaky shooter, right, Bill? But there's also something to being a guy who can be counted on to score points night in and night out. And especially when your team needs you the most, man. This is when like a guy like Trae Young just kind of cemented himself as a superstar for the Hawks. When you're on this stage, you got to come through. There's still opportunities for Middleton to do so, and otherwise you can get the reputation, fair or not. I mean, he's a big reason that the Bucks are here, right? And that franchise being what it has been, you got to give him a bunch of credit. He's going to play for Team USA. The whole deal. It's not like he's not a good player, but like you're saying, when you get paid a maximum contract in the NBA, being good's not good enough.
And that's kind of the problem. It's kind of the problem with the landscape of the NBA too. I mean, a city like Milwaukee's not attracting superstars. So Chris Middleton, if he was on the Lakers or the Heat, he's not a max player. But Milwaukee needs to keep their talent in Milwaukee, and they have to kind of give an above average to very good player in Chris Middleton max money. And when you're on a max contract, you can't have games like that. Other guys aren't doing that. I mean, even guys that you don't even think of as superstars, like Bradley Beal's not showing up for the Wizards with a 10-point game or an 11-point game in the playoffs. Trae Young's not going for 11 points in several games, and it's frustrating. Budenholzer's catching a lot of heat, but Middleton's going to start catching heat too because you can't collect $35 million a year. He's going to make $40 million in a couple years, and you can't do that and then just completely stink in the finals.
Well, one thing that you need, I think, in the NBA is if you're going to go a three-headed monster, and that's what the Bucks have tried to do, you need two guys to step up every night. And I agree with you. Chris Middleton didn't do it last night, and it's been infuriating. And I know that Drew Holiday is not necessarily – he's considered the third guy in that little deal. But Drew Holiday is also got to do that. 7 of 21 last night. He only has 17 points. He's 1 of 3 from three-point range. Drew Holiday's another guy that I'm looking at that you brought in to be Robin to Giannis Antetokounmpo and Batman. And so I think it's two ways. Last night it looks like you get Batman out there, but you didn't get your Robin. And Chris Middleton could have been that guy. Drew Holiday could have been that guy. I think when your two other guys, you guys talk about it, Middleton last night, 5 of 16 shooting. Holiday, 7 of 21 shooting. Holiday takes 5 more shots than Middleton did last night. Middleton stands up to me because he was 1 of 6 from three-point range.
Well, and he's not even getting to the line either, which is bothering me about Chris Middleton. In their losses, he's getting to the line twice a game, and in their wins, he's getting to it 6 a game. Like if you're not able to score, get to the line. He makes all his free throws.
Yeah, and you know how many shot last night?
Free throws? Was it 0?
Yeah. 0.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you can't do that. You can't not get to the line.
I'm actually looking at him.
Giannis has just got to be in the locker room looking around like, dude, I wasn't even supposed to play. I was supposed to miss game 1. I came out, put my heart on the court, left my heart on the court, dominated. I put 42 on the board for you. Nobody can give me anything. Nothing. Middleton had a minus 15. Come on.
Tim, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a stat. I didn't realize this until now as I'm looking at the free throw stats. Giannis shot 18 free throws last night. He was 11 of 18 from the foul line. How many other players do you think in a game should shoot a free throw? A singular free throw.
If you play 10 minutes, you should get to the line once.
I think everybody in the starting lineup, outside of maybe if you have one 3-point specialist, everybody should get to the line. I'd say at least 5 guys on an NBA team should go to the line every game.
One starter, Drew Holiday last night, was 2 of 3 from the line, and one other player, Jeff Teague, shot 2 free throws last night. 5 free throws from the rest of the team. You had 18 free throws from Giannis, 5 of them from the rest of the team. I don't know if I've ever seen a stat line like that.
23 total attempts for the team. How many did the Suns take?
They only shot 14. This is a different NBA than we grew up watching, though. You've known that for a while now. The game is played differently, but that's pretty stark. I think the first time the Suns got to the line was right before halftime. In the entire game, that's the first time. That's the way they play. I mean, they shot 43s last night. The Suns did. The Bucks shot 31, 71 3 shot in the game. Pretty incredible, man. It's not the brand of basketball in the NBA that I grew up watching for sure. That a lot of us did. I mentioned. So we're talking about the 2 South Carolina products specifically, NBA Finals, and Chris Middleton on the Bucks side. Well, that's where Torrey Craig started his season this year, so he's the only guy guaranteed to get a ring because he's already played plenty of enough games with the Bucks and then the Suns. Craig had 6 points last night in 8 minutes, and ended up leaving the ball game with basically had a collision there at the end of the third quarter trying to take the charge, called it a right knee contusion. No more updates than that right now, or immediately after the game, I should say. And we'll try to get you more information as the morning goes on. If any comes out on Great Falls standout Torrey Craig, who's made quite a career for himself, a former USC Upstate standout in the NBA. Speaking of USC Upstate, their former coach and former Gamecock assistant Eddie Payne, sad news yesterday, passed away at the age of 70. We'll get into football news from the SEC yesterday, a couple of intra-conference transfers and what that means for the future of college football and those of us who love it, and how we might be having to change our mind about clearly not this just the name, image, and likeness thing, but that's going to be a big deal moving forward. But now, what about the other guys who come to join your team? You've seen it in Carolina recently with a Clemson Tiger coming to join the fray with the Gamecocks. Now we're probably going to see it relatively soon, I would imagine, if the trend holds, of other SEC players joining South Carolina. But give you those details when we come back. Glad you're a part of the show. 803-404-6100. If you would like to call or text, it's the early game. It's 107.5.
Clear.
Not a good time to have some bad shooting games in the NBA Finals. Is a great time if you're looking to maximize what you can get in the market from a housing standpoint. And Buford Lending wants to help you do that. Give Benji Getzy and his experienced team a call. 843-524-2404. What Benji Getzy and his team have done in the last 25 years or so, they've gone through about every single situation you can out there. A VA loan, conventional loan, construction loan, renovation. Maybe you're looking for your second home out there. You're just looking to refinance. Benji and his team have done that before. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that you can trust them in the process. I've gone through this process with Benji as I'm looking to expand my family and move into a little bigger house. And what I need sometimes immediately is a lender I can trust who can be there for me. And Benji is that for me and can be that for you for sure. All he asks is that you give him a call, see what he can offer you, and he is confident that he can get you the best deal out there. 843-524-2404 is the number. That's Buford Lending and Benji Getzy. Our boy Anthony, get in early. Oh, he's got a new picture. He's up first this morning. Big day, big day. Like a proud uncle, I'm guessing, maybe proud dad. Morning, DC. Morning, Trey. Look at that sunrise. Impressive.
Wait, you want me to stand back and take away the sunrise picture?
Oh, you were in a perfect spot.
Right here.
Nope. Off.
Back here. Big grilling weekend. Big grilling weekend. We're gonna do some blue cheeseburgers tonight.
Oh, why are you gonna ruin a burger with blue cheese?
It's actually really good. Put some blue cheese crumbles in there. And then Sunday we're gonna do a low and slow day on the grill with ribs.
Nice. Now you're talking.
Yeah. No blue cheese. You just not like blue cheese, or?
Correct. I don't like cheese pretty much in general.
Really?
But blue cheese. Ugh.
I like blue cheese crumbles more than I like blue cheese dressing.
No, I'm with you on that. I'll put blue cheese crumbles in a burger, make the patty.
Yeah, I like that.
It's got a good little taste to it. We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully where's my check the weather report for today? It would be nice to not rain. I think tomorrow will be a fried chicken, and boat day.
8109. They've been around for 20 years, but they know what they're doing. Let the experts take care of your pool while you enjoy the sun. 803-445-8109.
Got out there and caught some little fish yesterday. Even got Austin to catch a fish. He caught 3 of them.
Nice.
Yeah. He's having the summer of a 9-year-old. He has basically been locked in his room. He looks like that. What is it? That Star Wars character. I don't know if it's Darth Vader because I don't watch Star Wars. I've just seen the memes where he has like a cloak over his head. He's in there with like a blanket over his head and his headphones on playing Fortnite with his buddies.
Darth Sidious.
Who?
Darth Sidious, the Emperor. Just call him the Emperor.
Got it. Yeah, okay. We rewatched the ending of Luca again last night. Not bad. I'm getting more on board with Luca every time I watch it.
I like Luca better than Raya.
Luca better than who?
Raya. Raya is the other Pixar movie that just came out. Raya and the Last
Oh,
Dragon.
really?
Yeah.
What is that one on?
It's on Disney Plus.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It was one of those theater releases that cost $30 if you wanted to buy it on Disney Plus, but a couple weeks ago it became free.
Got it.
They're doing that now for like all their theatrical releases. I think Black Widow, the Marvel movie, comes out today, and you can buy it on Disney Plus for $30, or you can go see it in the theater.
Have you watched Cruella?
No, because you have to pay $30 for it.
Oh, you still gotta pay for it?
Yeah, it'll be free next month, so I'll wait till next month. I'm excited to see it. I've heard very good reviews, and they've already
I
signed on.
wonder if it's like a kids movie.
No, I think it's I think it's kid friendly, but I think it's fairly dark, and you don't have to be a kid to enjoy it.
Well, that's what I need, another good kids movie.
Would you ever pay $30 for a movie? Do you guys go to the movies?
No.
Ever? No. So I guess you would never pay $30 anyway.
I didn't even want to pay $3.99 yesterday for my kids to rent a movie at home. Like,
I had to ask the other day, what movie was it? I might have asked y'all. I think I did. If there was a movie worth paying $3.99 for.
There's just so many free movies that I'm just against it. You're up.
Never have I felt older than the discussion we just had where my kids are deciding what movie to watch yesterday and they ended up with Boss Baby because I was so cheap and would prefer them to watch the free movie other than $3.99.
It's not even
wait.
cheap. There's so many. You pay money for these streaming services. There's so many different free options. There's no need to rent to pay.
Wait, they watched the original Boss Baby. They didn't watch the second one.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original yet. So
Has the second one come out yet?
Oh yeah.
Or is number 3 coming out soon?
Number 2. They're on the second one right now. And as a matter of fact, I've been harassing my daughter. That's what I want to see. She's not thrilled.
They've been milking that series. They made a little TV show about it too.
Right. Yeah, I did see that yesterday as well. I know you guys are thrilled with our conversation about Boss Baby, but let me give you some college football news. Good news for Alabama, bad news for Clemson yesterday. 5-star defensive end Jeremiah Alexander, the number 1 player in the state of Alabama, had verbally committed to Alabama several months ago and then decommitted back in October. I think originally committed in March last year and then decommitted in October and then took a few more visits. Central Florida and Gus Malzahn got their way in there. Georgia, also a consideration. But Alabama is the ultimate choice for the number 1 player in Alabama, thought to be the number 11 player in the country. Again, defensive end Jeremiah Alexander choosing Alabama yesterday. And now I'm looking in the recruiting rankings, Bill. And let's go to the 24/7 Sports. Alabama, even with just 10 commits, up to number 11, up 3 spots, I think, from the last rankings there. And their 10 commits have an average of a 94.15 rating out of 100, I think, as I'm looking. That is the second highest in the country, only behind number 1 Ohio State. Patrick, sounds like you want.
Well, that's like they're going to be 1 and 2 every year. I saw the number 1 player on one of the websites for the 2021 class. The kid could have already been in school, just committed from Seattle. area to Ohio State because he
Yeah.
didn't want to. It was kind of interesting reading about it. I thought that at first it might have been a grade situation, but he decided that he just didn't want to be recruited during lockdowns. He wanted to actually take official visits and visit the school. So he just waited until July before he's about to go move in. Like he's probably moving in immediately. But yeah, he's committed to Ohio State. So it's Alabama and Ohio State 1-2 every single year now.
he wanted to, and I forget his name, but yeah, he wanted to wait and be able to take visits and see schools and meet with coaches face to face, and so that's exactly what he did, and that's a good point. No, I'm actually maybe a little surprised more kids didn't wait to do that, and you'd have this weird month of June or July where you had some 2021 kids out there, but that's exactly what he did, and then in terms of Alabama, look, I mean, it's early. They're going to end up with a really, really good class. It's the same way. You're gonna see South Carolina fall in the rankings. I think I said it the other day. In my opinion, South Carolina will end up between 20 and 25 in the recruiting class and the recruiting rankings, which is about where they end up every year. So I think Shane's done a very good job. Shane Beamer's done a very good job this year. But I also look at it and think that they're going to end up right now just about where they normally end up, and then maybe I think this is the interesting part. I believe right now they're set to take 23. I think is the number, and so again I think I asked this to you guys the other day with the advent of the transfer portal, and now what you can do, and the fact that South Carolina is going to be rebuilding after this year. You're not going to even if you're still going to need to use the transfer portal. How many spots do you leave open for say post signing day? Like you leave 3 open and say, all right, well we're gonna hit the transfer portal and use 3 spots to try and bring instant impact guys in that have played college football. Because some of these recruits, I like Emory Floyd, one of the most recent commitments, but he's going to need a little bit of time. The offensive linemen are going to need a little bit of time to develop. A lot of these guys are going to need maybe a year. So how many spots do you leave open to maybe go get a guy that could come in and make an impact for 1 or 2 years?
I think it's a great question. I don't know if it's a bit of a gamble, right? And we saw the Carolina coaching staff kind of forced to do that. I mean, in a practical sense, when Shane Beamer got hired and these recruiting classes start so early these days. I think it was wise for him to take, when he ended up taking 15 guys, I think, in his first class total. So a lot of spots open there for transfers. I think we'll just end up seeing maybe 2 or 3, I would imagine, stay open because they can basically count against you in the future, right? And that's how it can work as well. So I don't think you're going to see a situation where programs get themselves into a place where they can't take transfers in. They're going to make the numbers work. That's always been the line in college football. I think it's going to continue to be the mindset. Those numbers are going to work themselves out one way or another. But it's a very interesting question because we saw a couple of transfers inside of the SEC yesterday, Bill. Excellent segue into the information I wanted to get out this segment anyway. Former Georgia receiver Demetrius Robertson moving over to Auburn. So Mike Bobo getting a pretty experienced guy. Now, Robertson, this is his 3rd school already. Didn't do much at Georgia, especially last year. Ended up a much better 2019, I think it was, where he started 4 games and caught 30 balls. But last year, just caught 12 passes in the 10 games that Georgia played, but was a freshman All-American way back in 2016 over at Cal before transferring to Georgia. And now will finish up his career at Auburn. Demetrius Robertson moving over there. And then it was an offensive lineman moving from LSU to Kentucky to help out Mark Stoops and company. Dare Rosenthal is his name, former LSU left tackle, transferring in the conference. We already saw their quarterback that started against the Gamecocks stay in conference as well, and TJ Finley moving over to Auburn as well. So the intra-conference transfers, Bill, it looks like it's just going to be what SEC football is. Where is your mindset on that? For me, it's hard to wrap my brain around I get it. It's a new era, and with name, image, likeness, we've been talking about the last several days, obviously. But then the free one-time transfer, doing it in the conference, it just is going to be an adjustment, I think, for me to wrap my head around. The loyal SEC fan bases, I think, to get their mind around. But we saw it, and I mentioned Davian Feaster coming from Clemson to Carolina. Gamecock fans didn't have a problem welcoming him in and rooting him on. So I guess it might not be as big as I'm making it out to be here.
Yeah, no, I guess I don't really see a big deal here. I mean, remember before Tavian Feaster, there was Josh Bell. I know he didn't pan out, but just another one that transferred from Clemson to South Carolina. You know, we've seen. I'm trying to think of more interconference transfers for the Gamecocks.
Oh, for the Gamecocks.
For the Gamecocks, yeah. Like the first one I remember is Darren Hambrick. Was it Darren was the linebacker, I believe, coming from Florida? I don't think did Troy Hambrick come from Florida?
Nope, Troy was the running back, and he came from either JUCO or a smaller school, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So, but Darren Hambrick stands out. Now I'm trying to think of just a few more guys, and if there was any that transferred in interconference. Obviously, last year the big one in the SEC was Cade Mays going from Georgia to Tennessee, and took a little while for him to get there cleared. But
Late Frank started for Arkansas after being at Florida.
So Tim, I guess I don't view it the interconference transfer thing as big a deal, and it's just part of the landscape of college football now.
Well, how many of these kids do you see as recruits with their final five is all SEC schools or all Southeastern schools? Like, this is just where kids want to play, and it's kind of hard for fans to wrap their mind around the fact that the kids don't care. There's no loyalty. They're going to do what's best for them. So as much as we hate to see, or a Georgia fan might say, you're going to go to Auburn? You played for Georgia, now you're going to go to Auburn? Like, the kids don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say Demetrius Robertson's an interesting case because he was a 5-star kid who went out to Cal, I think, initially, transferred back to Georgia, didn't work out there. Now he's transferring to Auburn. You kind of just feel like there's something a little bit more there with that kid when you see 3 transfers or 2 transfers,
He's like 20. He's almost 30 now at this point, so.
He's dropping his kids off at school, then heading over to the practice field. Anyway, Tim, I don't put too much stock in it. I just think that this is down the list of things I see evolving with college football.
Troy Hambrick, by the way, ended up transferring to Savannah State, I guess, for his last year in college football. I'd forgotten that, but a couple of old school names for the Gamecocks 25-ish years ago, 20-plus years ago, that you brought up there. I hear you, but it will be interesting to see how this continues to evolve. The rule was just passed where you can do it, and how often, Frank Martin has called it recruiting on off your campus or on your team. How often this ends up happening will be something to keep our eye on for sure. I am very surprised at the word from North Carolina football, from their players, and the attitude toward an expanded 12-team college football playoff. We'll get into that as we continue to roll on this morning. Would love to hear from you at 803-404-6100, up and rolling on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, where Clemson Sean says, guys, it's July. Let's start breaking down the third-string left tackle and who's going to run a 9 route. I need some pigskin in my life. That's what we're here for, Clemson Sean. That and to make fun of Clemson Sean. It's the early game. It's 175. Clear. Patrick, will you run the break here? I want to do the live at the end of this break. Can you sit? Actually, I'm good. Never mind. I'm good. Hey, wanted to encourage you to get out to the airport. Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding is where you need to get to. If you hadn't been there, well, I just walked in there for the first time the other day. Was blown away by just the size of the store, first of all, but the options all over the place. And, man, I'm a recliner guy. I don't know about you guys. But when I am in one of my happy places at home, it's in my recliner, posted up, watching a game. I've had mine for forever. A good recliner is an important part of a household for sure, and maybe one of the only pieces of furniture that I get to pick out. If you need a new one, maybe you're thinking that yours could be an upgrade, go check out all that Motion furniture. It's the specialty of Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding. Motion furniture, recliners, reclining sofas, love seats. Check out their leather gallery. Man, you can just go and hang out at Daniel's Fine Furniture at the back of the airport. and they've been in town for more than 25 years serving the Midlands. The owners, Daniel and June Clark, want to treat you like family, and that's why I especially want to encourage you to get there. You're not going to just be a number in a big box store. They're going to treat you like they would treat their own family. You see something in the store, you can have it at your house in no time. You can buy right off the floor. You
have to buy a certain set, the whole thing, you can mix and match, whatever works best for you. Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding. When it's time to save, it's time for Daniel's Fine Furniture and Bedding, 3911 Edmond Highway in West Columbia.
There.
But you might not know them for low rates. That's about the case. Most people see them for
I guess Tim's frozen there. Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Okay.
he'll probably drop off here in a second, I'm guessing.
Sorry, what was that?
You're just frozen.
Yeah, that.
It's even better that you didn't drop off and you just popped back and said sorry. What's that after? Because you froze kind of with the look up to your left.
Tim Guckler is calling.
Of course.
Let's talk about the transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah.
But of course.
Anthony, how many of you will be watching Black Widow at the house tonight? $30. I feel like is a lot, but if you have 5 or 6 people, that's $100 trip to the movies, and $30 isn't that much in that case.
Yeah, but you can spend $30 at the movies just on one person.
Oh, yeah, by yourself, yeah.
Ha.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I remember when the last time I went to a movie was.
I would say he's much more like Phil Mickelson, actually, if you meet him. Like Bryson DeChambeau doesn't get it. Clipson Sean gets it. I could see him wearing the pants and not shorts, though. But that was Tom Brady wearing the pants the other day. Everybody else had shorts on. And then his shirt got untucked. He never tucked it back in. That bothered me. Like, what are you going with? Are you going with the pro look or not? Make up your mind.
Yeah, gotta go out there and relax.
Then don't wear pants. Wear shorts, dude.
I agree. You gotta be like Mickelson. Just go out there and highlight your calves and wear some shorts and hit balls.
Just let the calves breathe, man.
That's right.
All right. You're up.
I feel like 12 teams is too many games in a season for players who want to play long-term football. 16, 17 games in a season is a lot of wear and tear on the body, especially for guys who don't come out when they're playing. This is from a North Carolina linebacker, a University of North Carolina linebacker. And Mac Brown says that he was talking to his players. They're looking for some feedback about the possibility of the college football playoff, the likelihood, I think, of expanding to 12 teams. And this is what he got. Is this where we are right now? Because I thought everybody who's associated with college football is in favor of expanding the playoff, but apparently players and University of North Carolina players who think they're going to be playing in a national championship game and playing 16, 17 games are ridiculously I don't even know what to say, what the word is there. But is this where players are? Is this going to be a rift between fans and players? Because hearing this out of if North Carolina players are thinking this, surely there are other programs out there that have the much higher likelihood of actually playing that many games, and those players might have the same attitude if that's going to be a thing there, Bill. It sounds like agents are in their ear or something. I don't know what's going on here. But you.
I saw this yesterday and just kind of rolled my eyes at it. I don't know, 1A, 1B, 1A or 1B, whatever you want me to start with here is if it stays at 4 in North Carolina, you're not going to play in the college football playoff. So I'm confused at why the players would not want it to expand to give themselves a chance. Like there is no parity in college football right now. We have Alabama, Clemson, and really Ohio State, and then as I said, you can throw in that 4th or 5th team. Oklahoma, Georgia, Notre Dame has made an appearance or two. Washington randomly got in there. Michigan State randomly got in there. LSU got in there once and won it. But it's pretty limited there. You go to 12, you'll have more of an opportunity. So I'm surprised on that. Number 2, when you talk about expanding games, you're talking about expanding for what, 4 teams?
Right.
Most. I mean, I
have 4 teams involved, a couple extra games.
Well, no, my point is like you're still probably most teams. What is out of 12 teams are going to make the college football playoff.
4 of those teams will be one and done.
One and done. So
Game
throw them back in with the rest of college football because that's their bowl game. They will have played the same number of college games.
Right.
8. So now you got but here's the thing:
4 others will get a bye. Right?
4 others get a bye, so they'll stay on the regular playoff schedule. No, they'll go to 2. I guess what is it? 2 more. So
the point one extra game for them.
Yeah,
one extra game than the 14 playoff would have been.
The point being is, how many teams are really having to play all these extra games? It's very, very, very limited.
What's the most that you can play? If you play a conference championship game and then make it in from the.
That'd be 13, and then you'd have to
17, I believe.
17 you'd have to not get the bye.
But that would mean you won the national championship without a bye.
Played in it, right? Not necessarily won it, but played in the national.
Okay, yeah.
But that would be right. At the most, that would be 2 teams that did that, and I think we all understand in college football these days the odds of that happening very small. To me, something doesn't feel right with this, and. Now the same linebacker says, just talking with some guys on the team when we let Virginia and Florida State slip away, you can't get those games back. I don't feel like we deserve to be in the playoff if you lose 2 games like that during the season. That doesn't sound like a player talking at all. At all. I've never heard a player or coach say, yeah, we just don't deserve a chance at a championship. What is going on? It doesn't sit right with me. I feel like this was Mac Brown's PR attempt to push his own agenda or just to get the playoff in his certain way, and I ain't buying it. Is what I'm saying.
It shouldn't be what Mac Brown wants either, though. Like Mac Brown wants to play in the playoff, right?
Yeah, I don't get it.
It sounds like what the NFL guys were saying when their season got expanded.
Yeah, maybe
this is just taking his cue from them.
An NFL mindset. I don't get it. It is strange, especially knowing that North Carolina would have been in the conversation possibly last year, get one of those final spots. I think they finished 13 in the final poll.
Yeah, what bowl game they played? Was it the?
They were in Orange Bowl.
Orange Bowl, and they didn't even care. I mean, it was one of the biggest games their program's ever had. And
so maybe that's
and wide receiver opted out.
Maybe that's what it is. That attitude has just taken over that program so much that if we can't be one of the best 4 teams in college football, then I'm not going to play more games than I have to, because that's what it sounded like to me. And that is sad.
And who's this kid?
Sturby, or a linebacker. The guy they're quoting this ESPN article talking about is Jeremiah Gemmel, I believe. Not sure.
I'm going to see if this guy's an NFL guy, because I'm pretty sure if you ask the starting safety who's got no shot of playing in the NFL, but this is all he has, he wants to play as much football as possible before his career ends. I'm pretty sure that's how most kids that are competitors and love playing football feel. Because most of them aren't going to the NFL. So if it's, I don't want to wear my body down. If you're a running back that says, I don't want to wear my body down before I go to the NFL, like I only have so many hits in me, and like, I get that sort of, but it's just
Well,
the least
Here's
competitive
all right.
mindset
So
ever.
real quick here, the last college football playoff ranking that came out. It depends on how you want to view what the playoff, or how they would have chosen the playoff, or if you would have just gone off the. Well, I guess you would have gone off playoff rankings. North Carolina was 13th, right behind Coastal Carolina, and that's interesting because ahead of Coastal Carolina was Cincinnati, who is a non-Power 5 team. So would have Coastal Carolina been able to get in, being the second non-Power 5 team, or would have the committee ended up bumping North Carolina ahead of Coastal Carolina to only allow one non-Power 5 team in? That would have actually been an interesting discussion. So you're right, Tim. North Carolina been right on the cusp of getting in, and then in this scenario, let's just say they actually would have played if they get in at 12. Because remember, this is a man and woman made committee. This is not based on computer rankings, and you can see a scenario where they're all sitting around and being like, well, we don't really want two non-Power 5s in the playoffs. Let's go ahead and bump North Carolina ahead of Coastal Carolina. But if North Carolina gets in, they would have played the 5 seed, which would have been Texas A&M. They would have played at Texas A&M based on what this new playoff proposed system would be.
And the North Carolina linebacker goes on to try to explain his mindset. We're trying to win every football game and win the ACC championship, so we want to be top 4 regardless going into the college football playoffs. We thought between the 12 teams, the 6 teams, the 8 teams, maybe we slip a game here and there, but everybody's thoughts on the team is we're winning every game and we're winning the ACC championship. Why worry about if we come in 12th place, we're in the playoff? We're not thinking about that. We're thinking about being the number 1 team in the nation. That's a good thing.
So why are you complaining? You're thinking that you're only going to play 14 games anyway, 15 games anyway.
That's a good point.
Look, I get being a player and being focused and saying that you're going to win every single game, or thinking that, and you do need to think that as a player, but man, that just seems so ridiculous from those of us viewing this thing on the outside, because there are 130 teams. If North Carolina is thinking this, how many college football programs are going to be thinking this around the country every single year? 25, 30, more than that? And this, again, just shows to me a huge difference, a huge divide in the way that players think and the way that fans think. That's just my thoughts initially this morning. A bit surprising to hear North Carolina football players not in favor of an expanded 12-team college football.
But the big question here is this just Mac Brown and I guess Jeremiah Gimmel, the linebacker? Like, I know he says that
He probably will go to the NFL too, by the way. So I bet you he's thinking, we're not a national championship team. We're not going to beat Alabama anyway. Why do I want to play more games? I'm going to the NFL next year.
Well,
That's how I'm reading it.
I would also. I don't think, is this the voice of college football right now? Is this the overriding feeling of both coaches and players? I would say this is going to be in the extreme minority of what everybody else feels, right?
I don't know. Just the fact that it came out at all is surprising to me. So I tend to lean that way, Bill, but we're in 2021, man. Things have changed a lot just in the last couple of days, as we know, when it comes to the NCAA and college athletics as a whole. We'll continue to discuss this morning. Good to see our favorite 86-year-old caller with us. That's coming up as well. It's the early game. It's 107.5 The Game.
Clear.
Sugar cookie. What else did we have on the floor last night that was all over the place? It was chicken, I believe, and it was just an absolute mess. Our floors these days need as much help as possible. Fortunately, we've had the professional help of Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning, because I got the 1-year-old throwing stuff all over the place during meal times. Got the 6 and the 8-year-old always spilling a drink or two. But Zero Res has come out, cleaned my carpets, cleaned an area rug for me, cleaned the tile in both the kitchen and the bathroom, got my house back to that fresh, clean feel that is difficult to capture for us day in and day out. But really appreciate not just the results that Zero Res gave us, but how they do it. They do it differently than anybody else with a patented powered water system that you can learn all about at ZeroResColumbia.com. No harsh chemicals involved. That's important in my opinion because after the 1-year-old gets out of that high chair, he's right down to the floors and picking up things, and it's in the mouth. And you guys know how that is. 803-262-4020, the number where you can give Zero Res a call. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $119 plus a free hallway when you mention me, Tim Hill. ZeroResColumbia.com. Book that appointment today. 803-262-4020. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
I think either mine froze or
No, I'm having issues in my house. I think I just switched, so it should be good to go.
all right. Yeah, because I think it looked like Patrick and I made a move to the computer at about the same time, and then we popped up.
Yeah, I don't think it happened correct. I think three is our limit, but who knows? Look at that sunrise, just gorgeous.
Yeah, it is pretty this morning. I will be ready though for tomorrow morning when I can sleep in and not see it.
Rude Hog says Gamecock Larry is ready to roll. Watch out.
He's not. He's out.
Oh yeah, nice.
Maybe he'll call back.
He knows he doesn't want to just have 30 seconds at the
I was
end
going
of
to
the hour.
say,
Huh?
he knew he played that well. That was well played.
Yeah, we're going right into the closed bed.
Oh.
Howdy, y'all. I'm hearing a lot of squabbling over who has the chicken sandwich. As the rest of the chicken and cream, we let our sandwiches do talking. The new KFC chicken sandwich has a huge breaded and extra crispy 100% white meat chicken fillet, wrinkled up pickles, with mayo, classic and spicy, backed on a toasted buttery brioche bun, only $3.99. Making this a clear-cut chicken winner. Order the new KFC sandwich on the KFC app. At participating locations only, price and ability, tax extra. On Jesse Live, from the American Civilization. This is 1075. The King. The head of Civilization. Need your trade. We buy your car. You don't buy ours. The early game continues with Jim Hill and Neil Johnson on 1075.
You're up.
Todd, the resident Alabama fan, just sounds scared here to me. As an Alabama fan, I obviously want to keep the playoff at 4 games. I want to continue to have the season really meaning something. College football is one of the only sports where it does. I don't want teams with 2 and 3 losses getting in. I don't want to water down the championship. I want to see the 4 best teams in the country in the playoff. That's it. To me, Bill, that sounds like Todd is just a little bit afraid that the national championship number will go down as more teams have the opportunity to win in the playoffs.
I would just ask him, doesn't he want to just watch more, I guess, more important football instead of random bowl games? Like, at least he doesn't have to worry about anything. His team's getting a bye. He's gonna keep the same schedule. At least you get to watch something a little more entertaining than the Las Vegas Bowl.
Oh, we would rip Nick Saban if he said something like that for being scared. Hour 2 coming up.
Clear.
All right.
Rodney, the word is after Labor Day is when we're going to hop in there. So the Once football season kicks off, we'll be in the studio, is the word. Any particular reason why you're wondering is my question. Patrick does need some company in there, clearly.
Yeah. Did you see the deal that Master P's son got?
Yeah, I did
$2
see
million.
that. And where is he? What school? Small school, right?
Tennessee State.
Tennessee State.
But I don't know. I guess that doesn't really impact anything because the kid was filthy rich anyway.
Right.
Did y'all answer the question about being back in studio?
Yeah. I just asked Rodney why he was asking.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy right here. I could go out and fish right now. Do that next week when the neighbor's not home out there. The lady's not there. Probably creep her out. Freak her out. Ugh. So I wonder if you subscribe to Peacock. So you guys were talking about this. If you subscribe to Peacock, it's $4.99 a month. I'm guessing I could cancel next month. So I could pay $4.99 this month to watch Boss Baby instead of $30 to watch Cruella, and then cancel Peacock next month. Does that seem right? Oh, you're shaking your head. What was that phone call?
Just somebody giving me a traffic update for something I just said 5 minutes ago. And he was wrong. Said it was an accident. It's not. It's just construction.
Patrick would have loved Captain Telegram, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you'd have been a fan. You would have been a fan.
That seems like another lifetime ago, Bill.
I mean, I do remember my dad, like if we were listening to something like XM or something, he would switch over to FM so we could hear a traffic report, like a traffic report on the 8s. Every 8, he would get an update.
Right.
That's just, it's honestly just not necessary anymore because everyone has it on their phones and it's better. Waze is better than me.
Worst traffic update advocate guy ever.
I mean, Dave is the best traffic reader out there because he pulls up the cameras and looks at everything, and Dave will do a 5-minute traffic report because he's looking at the cameras and say, it looks like it's going to start right here. And
Yep.
I just read
All about it.
I don't know how to do that, and I don't know what the roads are. I'm reading places I've never been. Like,
You're saying that you don't think traffic reporter is your future. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so.
I think what you're really saying is traffic reporter is not going to be anyone's future.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's not too necessary anymore. I mean, I get it it does make sense more for if you're on a commute and you don't need GPS or anything, so you're not going to pull out your phone. It might be helpful to know, oh, shoot, there's an accident here. Because if you're on your morning commute, I imagine most people aren't navigating their way to work every day. So.
Well, just think too, we've gone through the least commuting time in maybe the history of our country, at least certainly in the last several decades. As Bill and I will sit here at home.
I've been able to save miles on my car.
Patrick, you jetting out of town here quickly?
No, I'm working tonight, and then I'll hit the road at like 4 a.m. I'll get off work at 3:30, run home, shower, and then get on the road.
Woo.
Get there at like lunchtime.
You're heading home? Is that what I just heard you say?
Tampa.
Oh, what you going to Tampa for?
My girlfriend's brother lives there, so we're gonna go up after I get off tonight. I'll drive up, get there at like 11 to 12 tomorrow, and then stay for Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday.
That's good. How are you going to get there? Are you going to go through? You going to go all the way down to Orlando and cut across I-4, or are you going to cut through the little back roads?
Is one way better?
Late at night. If you're traveling, if you're going to leave after work, I would go all the way down 95 and go across the 4. I wouldn't take Stark and Waldo and go through. Coming back, you can go through Gainesville and stop in Gainesville. You go up, what is it, 75, I think. You go up the Gulf Coast and you cut across. That is a little bit shorter, but going and also during the day having to deal with Orlando traffic, you don't want to deal with that right there by Disney. That 12-mile stretch, that's a pain. I go down there. I actually talked to my buddy Andy last night. I'm trying to go down there probably in a few weeks to see his baby and his family and everything. Go hang out with him.
The GPS.
I always go through Stark, Waldo, and Gainesville.
Yeah,
Or you can go right
GPS
around
is
Gainesville.
fastest too.
Yeah, I called that Jan. He was driving up there tomorrow. Yeah, or in the morning. Yeah, you're driving down there.
I'm always going up.
You are nothing but a positive person, always on the way up. What are y'all gonna do down there?
I don't know. I don't think there's anything on the agenda. That's why I keep looking at the forecast. It looks like it's going to rain a lot this weekend, which sucks.
I didn't ask Andy. Is that why you said you hoped that they had the parade?
Yeah, and it's Monday, which is brutal. Right as we're leaving, the parade's going to be setting up. All right, you're up.
Transfers from one SEC school to another. One college football team says it's not in favor of a 12-team playoff, and the NBA playoffs go 2-0 Suns over the Bucks, with a couple of South Carolina natives figuring heavily into that. It was Great Falls native Torrey Craig going out at the end of the third quarter with a knee contusion and did not return for Phoenix, but had helped them take the lead early on. 8 minutes, 6 points yesterday. It's Chris Middleton, though, from down in Charleston, who's really kind of headlining this thing from the South Carolina perspective, and not in a good way, unfortunately for him. Struggled yet again from the floor, and Giannis couldn't get much help from the Bucks, and his team drops to 0-2 hole in the NBA Finals with a 10-point loss as we kick off our number 2 here on the early game. Glad you're with us on a Friday in July. Hope your summer is going well, and maybe you're getting out of town like Patrick Perek and poised to head down to Tampa. Maybe you're sitting on the banks of Lake Murray like Bill is now, enjoying a beautiful sunset. You can check that out on our live video stream.
Sunrise.
I see sunset.
This
I'm
afternoon.
dumb.
I did the sunset last night with a cigar and sat outside to relax. So it was
That just shows you my mindset.
Yeah.
Not a morning guy here.
tough
Clearly,
day.
not a morning guy after yesterday.
It's setting for me.
Right. Our live stream, by the way, up and rolling. Facebook, YouTube Live, on Twitter as well. The station handles at 1075 The Game. That's sponsored by Buford Lending. And to me, it was the comments of out of North Carolina for some of their players. There was one linebacker kind of speaking for the team, and maybe he is not actually, and maybe it's not 100% unanimous, but just to hear college football players say that they're not in favor of expanding the playoff, especially a team like North Carolina, that, I mean, I would put them in a handful of, in a group, I should say, of maybe 3 handfuls of teams that will have the opportunity this year to get in that would have had the opportunity this year if it was going to change this year to get into that 12-team playoff. They were certainly in the mix last year. Bill, you mentioned the final college football playoff rankings, and they were 13. and would have had a possibility to be in a 12-team playoff. So it's weird to hear college football players say that, especially after, I mean, where would you put it, guys? I know Todd, the Alabama fan, said he's not in favor of it. I get it. If you're an Alabama fan or a Clemson fan, you're who else would we throw in there? Ohio State or Georgia, maybe. But for the rest of college football, expanding the college football playoff seems like just the obvious and the right thing to do to make the game better. It's weird to me to hear players say that they're not in favor of that, and the rationale behind it too is, well, we're just thinking we're going to win every game and be the number one team in the country, and we would be in that top four. I get that's your mindset, but man, that just to come out and talk that way in July seems a little idealistic, to put it mildly there, Bill.
Well, and that maybe that's something that you'll hear asked more in the coming weeks as we roll into media days. Certainly the SEC media day will be covered pretty strongly. And I think what I saw yesterday is that coaches will only be bringing 2 players with them this year as opposed to the normal 3. So few less interviews, but maybe that's something that gets asked. Maybe you get more opinions on that. Right now, I kind of shrug this off because it's one player, it's one coach. I know that the article on ESPN says that North Carolina, or I think it was Mac Brown, said that he asked his entire team who was in favor of going to a 12-team playoff, and not a single person raised their hand. So, you know, I don't put a whole lot of stock in this right now because it's one player, it's one team. Let's see if as we go into everybody's media days in the next 2 weeks, if you see more players with this opinion. If so, then I think it becomes more of a discussion point. It becomes very strange, in my opinion, but we'll see. And I would be very surprised as we sit here today if that is the majority opinion throughout college football by the players that are not in favor of this 12-team playoff. I would think that it's going to be 90% are in favor of it and excited about it, and that would maybe be the same way with the coaches. I would assume so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we'll get a chance to ask those questions in the coming weeks.
I hear what you're saying. I would assume that as well, but I wouldn't have assumed to read this tape to begin with. And I think we are in a different era. Patrick, it was your theory. You mentioned in hour number 1 that maybe this guy just is headed to the NFL and he's concerned about playing multiple games and the possibility of injury and the whole thing. We saw a bunch of players from North Carolina sit out last year's bowl game. So maybe that mindset just is where players are in that program specifically. But obviously college football in general has moved that way. Bill, this sets the stage to me to become a rift. And this is what I fear, along with the name, image, and likeness, because I know Gamecock Larry called us earlier. We didn't get him on the air, but I'm guessing we'll hear from him again this morning. And he's the guy that's pro sports. That's not me. I'm an all college guy. Once the money gets involved, I'm not interested in the whole deal. Well, clearly money is now involved in college athletics in a different way than it's ever been involved before. So how players handle this is going to be an issue with fans. To hear then them take it a further step and say, well, playing this many games is unfair to us and the whole deal, and we're worried about our health. That's not what fans want to hear, especially fans that are looking for a championship and opportunities for championships. That's what you're talking about. It would be just an expanded opportunity to play for a title, which is all fans want. And if players don't share that, or they're not in 100% on that, I think that would be a real bad look for college football.
All right, I'm going to go way out in left field here for a second. But as you were talking about that, something kind of crossed my mind. Do you think there is a day, and I'm looking at Alabama's schedule right now, okay? Saturday, September 11th, the second game of the year, Alabama plays Mercer. Alabama's backups will win that game. Is there a day coming, if you see this, if this is this one North Carolina player's opinion, where there's too many games, yeah, you factor in name, image likeness, you already see guys holding out of bowl games. Do you foresee a player telling his coach, it's Mercer, it's not a big game, I'm not playing this week?
Load management. Load management.
just says, hey, it's Mercer. I'm not playing this week. I'll play against Florida. I'll play against Miami. I'll play against Auburn. I'll play all our conference games. You schedule big non-conference. I'm in, but it's Mercer. And
Oh,
I don't want to
basically, this is what Jadavian Clowney did against Wofford back in the day, isn't
That
it?
has always been the word, yes. I think they said he had bone spurs in his foot. That was the official reason for not
Right.
playing. But there was a lot of rumors that he basically said, I'm not going to play against Wofford. I'll just sit this one out. And he might have actually had a good reason, because I remember at the time, Wofford running the triple option, the cut block.
Yep. Yep.
And he's you know, the word was that he basically, some people got to him and said, hey, you don't want to go against that offensive line. You're about to be drafted. You don't want to run the risk of injuring your knees against a team. So I would circle back. Do you all foresee a player at some point? And again, not a big game. Everybody's got these kind of games. South Carolina plays Eastern Illinois, obviously in the opener. Alabama's playing Mercer again in the second week. I mean, could you see some of their NFL guys say, hey, coach, no, I'm sitting this one out. I'm not playing against this team this week. I'll hold it. They play New Mexico State November 13th. Again, the Alabama players are probably pretty smart. They can probably look around and go, hey, our backups, our guys who have been wanting to play, can win the game without us. I'm going to the NFL in several weeks. I'm just going to sit this one out.
Well, the Alabama example is not the right one, right? Because they're the exception. I feel like in college football, where Nick Saban has the program running how he wants it, where they are they understand that the requirement is that they're selfless, and if they aren't buying in by 100%, then the very talented backup right behind them is just going to move them out of the way, and they're going to be done with the program. The program doesn't need them as much as they need the program, if that makes sense. That's the exception in college football. I think North Carolina is probably the prime example, isn't it?
You know who they play on Saturday, November 20th?
Saturday, November 20th, North Carolina football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go William and Mary is my guess.
No, you mentioned them. Wofford. They play Wofford.
Oh, they do play well.
They play Wofford, and 6 days later on a Friday, they play their rival game against North Carolina State. And I'm not saying that these North Carolina players aren't in it for the team, but let's be honest, they know what that rivalry means, and they probably know that, hey, Wofford, we should beat them regardless. Do I think it'll happen this year? No, but again, the hypothetical, when you hear a player talk like this and say it's too many games, load management, that's the great word for it, because that's what happens.
Ugh. I can't even hear that without just my hand becoming grizzled.
Like, do you foresee that? I mean, if you already got a player talking like this, or again, have I just ventured so far out into left field? But if I hear a player talking like this, I start to look at those games and say, oh boy, when is it public that the first kid came out and told his coach, hey man, I'm in for all the conference games, big non-conference games, I'm with you, but I'm not playing Mercer, I'm not playing Wofford, I'm not playing Eastern Illinois. I think Clemson plays Furman this year. I'm not in on Furman. I'm just going to sit that one out, and I'll play our big games. But I'm gonna rest this week and not run the risk of injury in a game that is meaningless to our program.
Why can't they just, like Alabama, say they're running back, hey, you take the first series, score me a touchdown, and then you're fine. It's done.
Well, that's happened for forever, right? I think what Bill's saying is because we're seeing the balance of power shift, and we talked about this in multiple ways through the years, especially talking to former Gamecocks like Preston Thorne, who played for Lou Holtz back in the day. And it was a really good example of it's my way or the highway. We're going to do it the old school way. And if you can't do when he told the story a while back of going into the bubble and playing softball without gloves.
Yeah.
Lou Holtz thought that would turn him up. Like, can you imagine third base and those huge dudes are just staring right at you? That's just dumb, right? But players clearly have more power going into this season than they've ever had. Now, name, image, and likeness involved in the whole deal. But that's what I'm saying, that those of us from the outside on looking in who have wanted players to have more power, you never want to get it to a place where you hear something like that, where expanding a playoff isn't good because 2 and 3 lost teams don't deserve a shot at the championship. To me, that mindset is just hard. It boggles my mind, not to mention what you're talking about, Bill, about playing more games and being at risk for injury. That's when you run the risk of running people away from the sport. And that's the scary part there. And that's I'm assuming smarter people will get in players' ears and explain that to them. But after hearing this from North Carolina, I didn't expect to hear that. We'll learn a lot more. You're right. In this preseason talking season that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, we'll get a lot more fully formed opinions, I guess, across college football.
You know, who's going to have more sway when you talk about getting in players' ear? Is it going to be family members going, oh, you get injured in this game, your name, image, likeness, in this meaningless game, your name, image, likeness goes out the window. Now, you have it. Obviously, people say, well, you can say that for any game. Well, no, because if De'Aaron King goes out and orchestrates an upset of Alabama for Miami, whatever he's making in name, image, likeness might double instantly.
I'd say times 10.
I mean, he goes out and has a big game. So again, there's a benefit to going out and playing your bigger games, your more well-known games. But if teams have these games against Mercer where a player goes, hey, I can, I don't know, whoever the running back would be for Alabama or if you say
Brian
North
Robinson
versus Wofford, whoever the running back is, he says, what's the point of me running for 250 yards against Wofford? It's not, I mean, the weight of having a 250-yard rushing game versus potentially taking a serious injury.
I think it's Ty
tough.
Chandler, by the way.
Oh, the Tennessee
Patrick
transfer.
Hall.
Okay. Oh, wait. At Alabama or North
No,
Carolina?
Brian Robinson's the Alabama running back. I
Okay.
think North Carolina's running back.
Ty Chandler. Yeah.
Patrick's all in the roster there. Well done here in July. That's what we do. We talk college football here on the early game. Glad you're a part of the program. 803-404-6100 if you would like to join. This is 107.5 again.
Clear.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big weekend. Sitting on the back porch, enjoying the lake a little bit, hanging out with the kids, maybe even looking at that mortgage statement, making sure that I'm in a great place. I'm paying a low interest rate, saving a little bit of money from my initial purchase of the home, all because I worked with Jacob Crowder and Brian Kovar, the mortgage guru team with First Palmetto Bank. You need to do the same right now. Just take a glance this weekend at that mortgage statement, see what the interest rate is, maybe how much equity you got in your home, and then give them a call to talk about refinancing. You can save some money. 803-719-1005. Brian recently telling me how they helped a friend of theirs down in North Augusta. He actually had a higher interest rate. He was able to get a lower one, had some equity in his house, was able to get some money back in his pocket. Now he's putting a basketball court in his backyard for his son. Pretty cool little idea, something that you might be able to do. You don't know until you give them a try and find out. Give them a call today, 803-719-1005. You can also email Jacob, the letter J, Crowder, CROWDER, at firstpalmetto.com. He's the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. That's actually a good question and a funny question. That Jerry brings up on the text line about North Carolina. Yeah, can't they just turn down the invite if they're the number 12 team in the playoff?
Never heard a playoff being posed as an invite. Only in college football would that be the case. Hey, we've been invited to the college football playoff.
I mean, that is, yeah. If they all come out, they come out of the North Carolina football facility, one got one leader with a piece of paper, all the whole team behind him. We appreciate the invite to your playoff. We will not be participating, though, this year. Too many games.
Patrick looks enthused.
Yeah, I don't think that's a Gamecock Larry call.
I think that's another traffic update. When I used to work in the TV station, I would sit right around the corner from our producer, who had the the joy of answering all the random calls that came into the newsroom.
Oh boy.
So, just here like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And then as soon as the phone, like as he's hanging up the phone, it's like, oh.
Yeah. That's I can envision that. Unfortunately, with the other business, that's a daily occurrence as well.
All right.
Is he still on the phone? Oh, somebody's just got hold of his ear.
Yep.
I don't know if I've seen Patrick's lips move.
It looks like ear torture. Somebody is giving him some audio torture.
And it's
Yes.
somebody who probably doesn't. What's probably going to upset him the most? It was probably somebody who doesn't want to go on air.
Right. And they're probably yelling about something that we said, not him.
Yeah.
Best part of the show coming in 3, 2, 1.
Boudreaux wants to hire Bill to teach him how to transition from one bit to another because he thinks you're really good at segues on your live spots.
There it is. I should have known it was Boudreaux. I should have known.
I'm not sure I take that as a compliment.
It's a compliment. You're really good at whatever we were just talking about and forming it into your live spot. So I have some really good material. I just struggle with the segues.
Oh, he was getting some advice on writing, comedy writing.
He wants to hire Bill, and he'll tell him all his material, and Bill will tell him how to segue from one to the next.
Sure. And by hire, he means not pay him.
Probably.
Free tickets to all the shows is how I would get paid.
Perks. It's all about the perks, baby. Yes, Sonny, we got your picture there. Sonny sent the picture on the text line of the we want Delp.
Yeah.
That was made yesterday by Gamecock fans. Guessing if you were on social media, you saw it. I certainly did. You guys saw it, right?
I didn't see
Yeah.
that one, the one he posted.
Oh yeah. No, I mean you saw it on social media though, right?
Oh, the We Want Delp thing? Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. We just posted that. Oh yeah, good call, Patrick. If that happens, you are an instant legend. Your legend will grow in Columbia for sure.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I mean, I assume it'll be out. The weekend. If the parade's on Monday, I assume they'll be out on Sunday.
Right.
Did y'all see was it Kucherov? I just called his YouTube clip of the press conference where he was shirtless
Mhm.
and talked about the Canadian fans.
Yeah. Said their final was the conference finals.
Drinking a Bud Light. Drinking a Bud Light shirtless doing the post-game press conference. He was hammered too.
You're up.
Let's think about this real quick. We got 2 Carolinas. The South Carolina football fan base is so passionate, let's say, about its team right now that a guy who just turned 16 years old, I think, is what Oscar did. In prospect, I think I just read.
Mhm.
One of the top tight end prospects in the country. Apparently, it's going to come down between Georgia and South Carolina. He's got family ties at South Carolina. Grandfather owns a big piece of property not too far away. I think his mom went to school here. From the state of Georgia. Clearly, both schools have really good track records of getting tight ends to the NFL. But Sonny wanted to make sure that we saw the picture that was floating around social media yesterday of Gamecock fans making the We Want Delp sandcastle yesterday and putting it very prominently, adding that to the social media firestorm that is Gamecocks versus Georgia fans and the battle to show who wants him more and persuade him to come to their school. And now we also have North Carolina current players, a guy who's, well, you looked at this North Carolina linebacker. What was his name again there, Patrick? Jeremiah Gemmel.
Gemmels, yeah.
Well, we think it's good. Yeah.
And he is projected to go to the NFL. Pretty good play.
Yeah, I mean, he had 84 tackles in the last full season, 70 last year, and he'll probably get an invite to the Senior Bowl, which means he'll get drafted. So I think he's a draftable player, yeah.
He's saying that the North Carolina players are not in favor of expanding the playoff to 12 teams because they're thinking they're going to win every single game and be in that top four. And if you lose 2 games or 3 games like they lost to Virginia and Florida State, then they don't deserve to be in the college football. How can we have such massively 2 different polar opposite, I feel like, buy-in for college football right now? Because clearly South Carolina fans just want as much help as possible and very passionate in it. And then you got North Carolina players saying, yeah, even if they expand the playoff, that's not what we're looking for right now. And possibility of playing 16, 17 games, that's too much if you're going to move on and play in the NFL. And that is, to me, moving towards a dangerous territory when it becomes between fans and players, because that's not what anybody wants to see in college football. Those of us who love it right now, you don't want to see a rift develop even more. I mean, South Carolina fans have seen it enough, I guess, with the Javon Kinlaw situation towards the end of last year and the end of the Muschamp era ugliness.
I mean, I don't think that this was the reasoning, and I'm being serious about this, but if you're North Carolina, you don't want to make your path harder to win a national championship. Their path is, get through Clemson. Just, if you beat Clemson in the ACC championship game, you're probably in. Don't lose to Virginia and Florida State like you did. But let's be honest, their path, Mac Brown is doing good things up there. They're getting better. I mean, they're going to be it might be a preseason. I haven't looked at any of the magazines. That needs to be something I get into here in the next few weeks. But I mean, North Carolina's definitely going to be preseason top 15. They might be preseason top 10, I would guess. Sam Howell's back. They've got several wide receivers back. I mean, they've got some players coming back here. Their schedule, let's see here. I've got it in front of me. Virginia Tech, Georgia State is number 2, or so week 2. Virginia, Georgia Tech, Duke, Florida State. They do play Miami. They got to go to Notre Dame off a bye week. Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, Wofford, and North Carolina State. So Miami and Notre Dame are their tough games. If you're North Carolina, do you want to play extra games in a playoff to have to win a national championship? Because right now, the last time they played Clemson, they lost by 2. They're probably sitting there thinking, "Hey, we can handle Clemson. We had a freshman in Sam Howell. We barely lost. We can handle them moving forward. Clemson's not going to be a problem for us." So, do you want to add 2 extra playoff games if you don't get the bye?
Number 14 is where sportingnews.com has them in the pre-bowl.
Okay.
Bill, what are we talking about here? North Carolina being in the college football national championship mix. This is the theory.
My point is, if he'd have come out and said that, been like, "Hey, we got a pretty easy schedule here. I mean, we're in the ACC. We played Clemson within 2. We really want to add 2 games against quality opponents at the end of the season."
Well, he doesn't.
Huh?
He doesn't. I legitimately think that he just knows that they're not going to win the national championship. So he's saying, if we make a playoff game, then I have to play in the game. Why don't we just have a good season, make another Orange Bowl, and I can opt out?
Well, but here's the other kind of stupid thing about this. The players that are currently discussing this, I think you've got to be a freshman to even have an opportunity. It's probably going to be 2025 before this even starts, I believe. But
this came up, according to Mac Brown, because the ACC commissioner has asked the coaches to ask their players to get feedback. So then they can go back and in their committee meetings and the whole thing before this thing is nailed down and say, no, well, this is what the players are thinking. And so that makes sense. That's you do want some feedback from your players. I get that. I doubt the sincerity of it. I don't know if it's just selfishness from the guys headed to the NFL and having listened to the NFL players talk the last several years about the possibility of expanding their season and saying, no, we're not going up to 18 games and taking out 2 preseason games and getting paid the same and the whole thing because of injury. And maybe it's that, but also clearly at North Carolina, the opt-out of bowl games has been a thing recently to a high degree, and maybe it's that as well. Or I guess the third possibility is to take this linebacker at his word and say they're thinking about winning every single game. Because, Bill, you went down that schedule, and you're right. It's about Clemson, and There ain't much more to it from the North Carolina standpoint for having a chance in the college football playoff as it's set up right
Well,
now. Theoretically.
I'll give them Miami could be a top 20 matchup on October 16th. That's in Chapel Hill, and then you go to Notre Dame. It'll be a night game on NBC. So you've got a night game the night before Halloween, October 30th. But they'll get a bye week before that. So the end of October could end up deciding their schedule. You got some kind of games in there, but you get Florida State in Chapel Hill. You got to go to Pittsburgh. I mean, you're right about
that. Is the theory then that Mac Brown comes in there and says, all right, here's what I know behind the scenes. Here's how he has the conversation with his coaching staff. We know if we're ever going to have a national championship here at North Carolina, it needs to be a 14-0 season, 15-0 max. And we need to get fortunate in 3 big games in the regular season, right? You mentioned 3: Miami, Notre Dame, and Clemson. And then
Clemson would be the ACC.
That would be the ACC team too.
Yeah, they don't
so that's 3 games. 3 games before the college football playoff, and then it would take 2 more wins, national champion. That's 5. That is a big ask at the University of North Carolina. But if you expand the playoff, now you're talking about at least 6 or 7. I guess maybe you could lose 2 of those in the regular season and sneak your way in, but still that number is still way up there. Maybe they're thinking the only chance they have of making a miracle run would be in the current setup. I don't know.
That's what I was saying is that do you want to add 2 more games against, say, hypothetically, a Texas A&M or I think this year Iowa State would have been in there, Cincinnati potentially in there. I mean,
but my theory though is did Mac Brown try to reverse engineer this thing and get his players to have the
players
that if you don't win, if you lose more than 1 game, you don't even deserve a shot at the national championship. It seems so antithetical to the way that players and coaches think, right? That you do your absolute best, and at the end of the year, you have a chance to win a championship until you lose. But college football has never really been that way. It's always been, hey, you have to be near perfect through the regular season to even have a chance. It's such an interesting way to look at all of this and surprising way that it popped up. And I am interested now, Bill, into hearing more college football players and coaches talk about their outlook and perspective on the expanded 12-team playoff, because I just thought it was obvious and rational for all of us to embrace it. And when more teams have a chance at a championship, it's good for the sport. But apparently that's not the way that everybody's thinking in college football, at least according to this North Carolina feedback to start with. We'll continue to discuss. Love to hear your thoughts. We see you on the Love Chevy phone lines and Cool Care Heating and Air text line at 803-404-6100. It's the early game. Kick off the second half of the show next here on 107.5 Game.
Clear.
Oh, yeah, that's a good feeling. Feeling pretty good? Yeah, it's how you should feel when you make the next purchase of your vehicle, whether it'll be certified pre-owned or new. You yourself will be feeling pretty good when you make that purchase, especially do it from Love Chevrolet, the winner once again of the Mark of Excellence Award, a award given out to not just any dealership, but the top of the line, the best of the best across the country for Chevrolet. And once again, in 2020, but this past year, it was awarded to Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Of course, they continue to dominate because largest selection of brand new Chevrolets anywhere in the Midlands. While others are struggling to get inventory, Love Chevrolet right now has got you covered. 14 acres of Chevys. Then once you find that car or truck, you're getting the best deal possible with the $1,000 low price guarantee. And of course, the most important part, in my opinion, is having a sales staff that's there to be knowledgeable, not to harass you, to work with you, to make sure you're comfortable with the purchase. And that's exactly what you get at Love Chevrolet. They've taken care of me for years. They will do the same for you. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
There are no added taxes and no contracts. Try the Spectrum Mobile Savings Calculator today. In 3 easy steps, you'll see how much you can save by switching. Visit spectrummobile.com/save. Spectrum Internet provider. Various restrictions apply. Visit Spectrum Mobile.
maybe that's where we go to next for the rest of the show or the next part of the show. What is the appropriate level of fans to show their support of the college football team?
The appropriate level?
Sandcastles for a 16-year-old. Too far?
All right.
I don't know. I guess every fan base needs some people with no shame.
A
Every
tweet
fan base
at
has
all?
them. I mean, like, I don't know who's the worst. You need a guy that's going to dress up in a, like orange and black stormtrooper outfit because he's a giant Bengals fan. You need the Saints fan that wears a giant whistle. You need Mr. Boltman for the Chargers. Like, it's part of it. Just couldn't be me.
Same here.
I do agree with the text that says, is that going to be embarrassing if he doesn't commit? Yeah, it's going to be kind of embarrassing.
I don't see that.
I mean, I think it's kind of embarrassing to begin with,
But you got to. We'll talk about it on the show.
I looked at the Twitter and the guy follows me. I was like, I don't want to just be like totally mean to you, but
What'd you say?
No, we'll talk about it on the air. I think it's an interesting, right? Like RL says, do you need a guy that whistles loudly during games? No, you definitely don't, RL.
You okay? You need something else. You sleep good? Okay.
you're up.
How far is too far? College football fan bases, passionate about their programs. Good example of that yesterday's social media picture that popped up from Gamecock fans at the beach, building a big sandcastle that spelled out, "We want Delp," the big-time tight end prospect out of the state of Georgia. So my question is, how far is too far? Because a texter hit us up, and I think we have different takes on this. Brad says all that's a little over the top to get a "we want Delp" could look silly if South Carolina doesn't get its commitment. Looks a bit desperate, Brad said. I don't think so at this point. It seems passionate. And Patrick, your point, you agreed with Brad, I think, originally on our video stream chat here on Facebook, YouTube Live, Twitter as well, up and rolling this morning. But to me, having a hashtag to get a guy and putting it on social media is part of the game these days, isn't it? It's part of what draws recruits to schools, a passionate fan base. I mean, we see Frank Martin all the time put his players on social media and say, "Hey, show him some love today. It's his birthday." Or Gamecock Nation, show the handle some love. Go follow this guy. Now, this is just the next step, right? I guess maybe your point is that if he becomes a Georgia Bulldog, then the love you showed him kind of seems a little bit silly. And then how do you kind of go back on that? But I think in 2021, you have to have a certain element of your fan base that does this, right? To be competitive in SEC recruiting from that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of it. There's literally nothing that I would do to try and get a recruit from where I sit right now. I won't like a tweet. If Shane Beamer says like this tweet if you want Oscar Delp, I'm not liking it. Like, I won't do anything, but I'm very glad that there are people out there that will on our behalf as the University of South Carolina. So I don't know where it's fair to land on this, because I mean I appreciate it kind of, but I would never do it. So I'm glad that there are people out there that are doing that. And
RL brings up the issue in this thing, right? I wonder if the love becomes vitriol if he doesn't commit. That would be the bad part about it for me, and we see it happen all the time. And that is the awful part that maybe these kids don't understand, right? This is very conditional love for high school football prospects, that if you we're going to love you because we think you're going to be a good football player and give us good feelings on Saturdays. And then if you pick the other school, we're going to hate you because you did what was best for you and your family and the whole situation. And we're not very mature about all that part. Bill, where do you stand on this?
Well, I think across the board, not just in college football, a lot of people, and this isn't a knock on what Patrick just said, but they want to feel involved. They want to feel, whether maybe it's your own business or whether it's something else, you want to feel like you're a part of something. And I see this with recruiting, where now the advent of Twitter, you, the fan, can feel like you're involved. You can be the guy who, maybe you're not making the amount of money to throw it in a McDonald's bag and wander by a recruit and hand it to him and say, hey, I was the guy who gave him, the McDonald's bag full of cash. But you can be the guy or the girl who's like, well, on Twitter, I tweeted at him. I was part of bringing him to the university.
Hey, Oscar Delp did retweet the Sandcastle yesterday, so those guys can high five each
That's
other.
what
And that's part of it. And we all know people out there that and I'm not saying this is good or bad, but are like that, and they want to be a part of something, and you want to be part. Whether it's a movement, whether it's a
We're cheering loud on third down so that you personally can stop the opposition.
That goes back to the conversation we had. When they get a stop, are you high-fiving the person next to you because you were loud enough, or because the team did their job? Or did you do your job? So you're, hey, good job. We were part of it. But that's part of it. And I think that's what you get with Twitter. Twitter in particular, Instagram, whatever you want to say, you have access to people. We just had a president who, if you tweeted at him, the president might have tweeted back at you. All right? Like, social media is a weird thing. Frank Martin is a guy, and we've seen this. Dawn Staley's honestly the same way on Twitter. If you tweet at him, you not only do you have access to them, they may respond to you. Like, they may take it and actually respond to you, and you say, hey, I actually had a conversation with the head coach at the University of South Carolina. Look at me. I'm pretty, now you're showing all your buddies, hey, look at my phone. Look, the coach responded to me. And
Shane Beamer goes even farther than that, right? If you meet Shane Beamer, he might request to take a picture with you and then put you up on social media. Say, hey, great meeting you.
So, I think my point in all this is you get people in recruiting, or you get fans in recruiting who they want to feel like they're a part of something. And it's what we just said. I didn't know that Oscar Delp retweet. I didn't even see the picture until Sonny sent it to us. But you get people like that. And yeah, those guys and girls in that picture who did it, I can guarantee you, if Oscar Delp commits to South Carolina, they're going to be like, hey, I'm pretty sure our picture, our sandcastle, is what put South Carolina over the top. Like, I know he had a good visit, and I'm maybe he likes the offense, and maybe he thinks playing for Shane Beamer is a good idea. But I'm pretty certain it was the sandcastle that put it over the top. And and I think there's just a lot of people out there that are like that, and they're like, hey, if I tweeted this recruit, maybe I'm the reason he'll end up coming.
I just think everyone should probably talk to a 16-year-old, kind of gauge their level of intelligence and maturity, and then kind of evaluate what they want to say or how they want to interact with that. I coached high school lacrosse last year, and talking to some of those 16-year-olds, I could never imagine putting their name in a sandcastle.
Right, and that's coming from a 25-year-old.
Well, I will
defend
the sandcastle. Look, we've all been to, two of us go to the beach. Patrick runs away from the beach like the plague is on it. But you get on the beach, and at our age, because I was explaining this the other day to someone about my two kids and where they're at in life. Like, they don't build sandcastles anymore. So if I go to the beach, I can't just put them down in front of me because I want to go sit and relax. And maybe I'll play a little bocce ball. Maybe, we'll create a little game on the beach. But by and large, I'm going to relax. But you want to get up, move around. My kids now are at that age, they want to go jump in the waves, which means I got to go jump in the waves with them, which is cool for about 30 minutes. And then you're exhausted and you just want to go sit down on the beach. People want to do things. I think these people got bored yesterday. We're like, all right, what else can we do here at the beach? Everybody pitch in.
Think about this. You're talking about everybody pitching in. My mind immediately went to the new name, image, and likeness thing. You telling me the same people that did that yesterday wouldn't pitch in what? $50, $100 to a GoFundMe, to the corporation of Bring Gamecocks Back or whatever they're doing down in Miami, right? Bring back the U. And then eventually they'll sponsor players, or they'll have players endorsing their corporation. This is where we are as we sit here.
I agree.
In 2021. And it is wild. 803-404-6100 if you want to join. It's the early game. It's 107.5.
Those good folk there yesterday making sandcastles. We believe they were Gamecock fans, but whatever it was, if you look at the picture, they were having a good time. Now, they were sitting out by the beach. Maybe that's not what you're going to do this weekend. Maybe you're going to sit by your pool. You're going to relax. You're going to grill out a little bit. I know I'm going to be doing some ribs on Sunday. Maybe you're going to be hanging out with the family. Maybe you got a little pool party. My question would be, in what condition is your pool? If it's not clean, you need to get it fixed. You need to get it fixed today. Call Tracy Corley of Corley Pool Solutions, 803-445-8109. 20 years of experience in the business. And why is that important? Because as you heard me talk about this week, you want somebody who's kind of aware, who kind of knows what's going on when it comes to putting the chemicals in your pool. You mess that little sucker up, that pool's gone, buddy. Don't put the wrong chemicals in your pool. Matter of fact, just use an expert. Use somebody that's been around, that knows what they're doing. Tracy Corley can do that. Flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. It's a lot easier and a lot less expensive to actually use Tracy than it is for you to try and do it yourself. Don't mess around. Let the experts handle it. Corley Pool Solutions, 803-445-8109. They want you to enjoy your pool and not worry about any surprises. That's why you need to give them a call today. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions. Oh, I see a goose. He's coming up the stairs. There's 2 geese. There's 3 geese. Oh, good Lord. There's a bunch of geese.
Come on. Give us the camera view of it, man. Come on, let's see your camera skills.
Oh. Oh.
We lost
Oh,
it.
there's a whole bunch. Oh, the goose are up. Can you see? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
What
Got
you're
it.
seeing. Can you see them? We got a goose duck standoff over there.
Nice. We got goose versus duck.
That's what it appears. Let me change this so I can see. Yeah, the geese are just sitting there staring at the ducks.
Turf war. Lake Murray turf war.
Can you see it over there? Yeah, you can kind of see it. The ducks are enjoying a nice breakfast. There's 4 geese there. I see a 5th. I will say they're being very polite. They're waiting their turn. Oh, one goose is hobbling away.
Who wins that thing? The
Well,
geese?
right now the ducks have. The ducks have stood their ground, but one of the geese is moving in. Oh, we got a little. They're moving in. They've run the ducks off. The ducks are gone.
Casey Patrick was helping out at Hammond before everything hit.
Yeah, I did. That's 2 years ago.
Any plans to do it anymore, Patrick?
Maybe. I need more time on my hands. But I like doing it, so possibly again next spring.
Hear you. Are there a bunch of programs out there now, or is it still pretty limited? Like a dozen?
Nah, it's pretty limited. I mean, yeah, there's a dozen probably sounds about right. I mean, we didn't even get to finish our whole season, so we didn't get to play everybody, but
I know Lexington, Chapin, maybe River Bluff all have
AC Flora is really good.
Laura.
I think the year I was there, they had the first ever Division I recruit from Columbia.
So you helped out at Flora?
Mean animals.
Huh?
Did you help out at Flora too? Is that what you're saying?
No, they just destroyed us.
Oh, gotcha. You played against them. Dutch Fork apparently has one. Getting recruited now.
Yeah, I think they're good. It's kind of far for me.
I'll be Patrick's agent in this negotiation. He is
Oh
open.
boy, get in there.
Opportunity is what he just said. There are some unique challenges that would need to be overcome in the negotiation process.
Yep.
Morning, Hope.
If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to do what Kimber did and teach one class and then coach.
You what now? If you what?
If I ever win the lottery and don't have to worry about money, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the Kimber. Either coach one class or whatever. He was philosophy, right? I'll teach one like history class. I'll teach like a U.S. history class, and then I'll coach lacrosse, and that'll be my life.
Well, good news. Powerball is at 127 million tomorrow night.
We played the clip yesterday from Frank Martin a couple of days ago telling us that he knows there's a 7-figure deal out there for a high school basketball prospect now that name, image, and likeness is a thing, and the NCAA and lawmakers have done very little to rein this thing in. And so now we're asking simply, all right, what about passionate football fan bases like the Gamecocks and current recruits, where we saw a sandcastle that said, "We want Delp" yesterday floating around on social media. What's to keep all those guys from making a GoFundMe? And Chris brought up the suggestion of a GoFundMe for Gamecock fans on Wednesday. He says, "I came up with that. Where's my credit?" Chris said, "I don't think that's necessarily an original idea, but
Here it is.
all credit to Chris." There you go. How does this thing move forward? Because when you see a gym owner down in Miami creating a corporation called Bring Back the U and offering to sponsor guys at $500 a month, which would be $6,000 a year for 85 scholarship guys, that equals basically more than $500,000 per year. He says, "Yeah, I'm not doing it for the business. I'm doing it so these Florida State and Florida fans I know won't continue to give me stuff like they've been giving me the last couple of decades." This is where we are. We're going to see obviously multiple levels of this. I think that seems to be like the top level, right? That is a large commitment, more than $500,000, and just throwing it out there for every single scholarship guy. Anybody know about it? That seems to be the top, but there's going to be so many different levels and variations of this. I think I put that at the top, and then I put like the Arkansas offensive lineman who signed a deal to endorse the local barbecue joint.
Notre Dame too.
Oh yeah, they're getting in on this thing too. It's kind of the bottom. I guess the Gamecock guys who have signed on with the underwear company owned by NBA guys. Maybe that's towards the bottom as well, but we have no idea what kind of money's involved in that. Bill, we always say that media days is going to be kind of the unofficial kickoff of the football season. I think this year, hearing from players and coaches at this time is going to be the most interesting that we've heard in a long, long time, just because of this brave new world of name, image, and likeness and everything that's coming with it.
There's so much changing with college football. I'm reading this. You got it on Twitter. I think it was Tommy who sent this to us, the flow chart for people who want to tweet at a football recruit. Patrick, I think you would agree with this 100%.
Yep.
I think I've seen it before. Is the punchline never do it, basically?
Punchline, there's a whole bunch of no's, and it just ends with tweet sent anyway.
Hour number 3 coming up.
Clear.
Right up to 774. Excellent RO. That must have been, I'm guessing that was Sonny's wife joined us yesterday.
Oh, good. All right. Bottle of water. A little bit more coffee and coffee. I think I've got down. I think this is the Scottish Open. Or was that loud?
Oh, the Scottish is always the week before the British. We're not.
Yeah, so it had McElroy and Ron playing together yesterday.
When is the British? Isn't that
Next week.
2 more weeks?
Next week.
It is? Oh, okay. Yeah, they always do that so guys can put it back to back.
Yeah, Rom
I
is
think
the leader
Mickelson's
for
one of the
right
few
now.
Americans that does it. Is Mickelson in it? Do you know? I guess
If he was, I didn't see him yesterday. I didn't look at the leader. I mean, I just watched it. I had it on television.
that would be quite the week, wouldn't it? Detroit on Sunday, Montana right from there, and then straight from Montana over to Scotland before the Scottish and British.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a culture shock, I would think.
Not for Phil. Phil's an international man of mystery.
I would much rather watch Tahoe than whatever PGA event's happening this weekend.
John Deere is the PGA event.
Yeah, the John Deere. That's always a field that is watered down, or usually a field that's watered down, or it's guys who are trying to win just to go to the British.
Yeah. I actually like watching the Tahoe event because
Really?
I'm interested in seeing which athletes are just sick golfers. Like I would have never thought that Kyle Williams, the nose tackle for the Bills, is just a
Right.
beast. Like he absolutely destroys golf balls. He's like 330 pounds and it just smokes balls.
That's crazy.
That I like watching.
Oh, look at Allen. Allen's getting into the recruiting spirit.
Uh-oh.
Possible huge announcement coming from Allen next week. If it is, you're going to start sponsoring the 107.5 The Game golf tour. I'm down with that huge announcement, Allen.
I'm looking at the field right now. I mean, yeah, some of these pairings are just sweet. Like David Wells, CC Sabathia, and Greg Maddux. Sterling Sharp, Marcus Allen, Doug Peterson.
That's a good one.
Strahan, Justin Tuck, and DeMarcus Ware.
Are you giving me that's the groupings?
Yeah, celebrity
I mean,
pairings.
this is awesome. Yeah, they're actually like everyone gets cooler than less. Patrick Peterson, Vince Carter, and Jimmy Rollins. That's awesome. All the Currys. Steph
Something
Dillon.
like when I see these guys swing a golf club, it's like, oh, then I realize they're actually just human beings like the rest of them. Oh, I didn't want to see that.
The Curry grouping is going to be very interesting. Those guys are all unreal.
Who's Steph playing with?
Dell and Seth.
So it's just the Currys. It's their own family group.
Yeah, and I bet it's very competitive because all of them are great.
Poor Seth. I just feel so bad for him.
He's had a big resurgence the last couple of years.
No doubt. No doubt about that. But
Charles Barkley, Rob Riggle, and Larry the Cable Guy. Are you kidding me?
that would be the most entertaining group.
Who's the third in that group?
Larry the Cable Guy.
Riggle and Barkley.
How
But
about before them, this is the 11:51. They're the final tee time, it looks like. Or
they'll
second to
get
last.
the most airtime.
Right before them is Kevin Nealon, Ray Romano, and Brian Baumgartner. Kevin from The Office.
Nice. See, you got to have a guy like Kevin from The Office in that group, right? Because you can't have just three guys always going for the punchline. That's not chemistry in the group, man. Got to have a straight there.
I mean, these groups are awesome. Oh, Kyle Williams and Andrew Whitworth in the same group. Just 700 pounds of man between them.
Whoa. How do they do that cart situation? My question.
I guess they all get their own, I would assume.
I have ridden in the cart with Justin Sorensen, former Gamecock offensive lineman. I got to tell you, I've been concerned several times around corners.
Oh, I bet. They're so rich, I bet they bring their own golf cart.
It's true.
I'm pretty sure this Tahoe has probably got really nice golf carts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
These
have to.
groups are amazing. This field's unreal. Terrell Davis, Jerome Bettis, and Emmitt Smith, just 3 Hall of Fame running backs.
But isn't Tahoe? That's a walk. Is that the one that Bill Murray would always play in? Or no? I'm thinking of
Pebble
He's
Beach.
where he yelled at the reporter the one time.
I don't know. No, Tahoe is the famous one. Spurrier and Holtz always played in it through the years.
It is quite.
Is the time of year to play in it.
But that's still the one
Is
that
Spurrier
John Smoltz, where there was a pitcher in baseball that always won it.
I know who you're talking about too. It was, I think he pitched for the Pirates.
Yep.
It's going to come to me.
Dark-headed guy. I can't remember.
I want to say Bob something.
No, I want to say it's Jeff.
Burn me up. You guys don't add it in there on the live stream if you know who it is. Guy who dominated this event for years and years. Pitcher.
Mahomes, Kelsey, and Justin Timberlake is the third in their group.
Wow. This is like if you're talking about golf tournaments to go see, this is it, right? I mean,
yeah.
In person, this is
This is A-lister after A-lister after A-lister.
So I would pick this one to go see because at an actual like major, you miss so much of the golf being at the course that it's so frustrating for me actually being there and hearing a roar somewhere else. I'm like, oh, what did I miss? But who cares if you miss a shot in the celebrity deal, right?
Well, here's the other thing about going. If you go to this tournament, all these names you just picked, they're not there to really win the tournament.
Right.
Here's one thing about it. When you go out after the tournament, if you go to a local bar or whatever, the odds of running into one of these athletes has got to be right. I mean, like they're not going back to their house that night and having their own personal chef prepare a dinner and whatnot. Like they're probably going out just like everybody else.
But the money involved in that thing, whew, you got to have so much money to be running in those crowds.
There's a group of them that are there just to have fun and do the best, but there's a group of them that they all know they're incredible golfers and they want to win very badly.
Probably like 25 of them, I would say. 25 out of the field.
That think they can win or that are no, yeah.
Now I want to say it was maybe D. Is it? Man, that's ticking me off. Good golfer in the celebrity deal, former pitcher.
I want to say it was a Jeff something. American Century Championship.
And when was this?
Basically the last 20 years.
Mark Mulder won a bunch.
No, I'm thinking of Mulder. Guess it was before him then. What do you got? Is there another name? Nothing.
Won a couple of them.
I'm looking at it. I know who it is now.
We've our conversation to celebrity golf as the American Century Championships coming up, and just realized that if I had one golf tournament to go see in person, it would be that. It wouldn't be the British Open coming up or the Masters or the U.S. Open, even the PGA, because Bill, you were just at the PGA on Sunday. The famous Phil Mickelson win. How much actual golf did you get to see from Phil Mickelson that day? How many holes? 2?
Whoa. It's actually got, let's see, 1, 2. I can't remember if I think I watched him tee off on 3, and then I crossed over and saw the approach shot and him on the green at 7. I watched him tee off on 8, and then the way the course was set up, he kind of, to go to 9, you go a different direction, and I was going back to the tent that I was at, sat there, and I guess I got lunch. I watched him hit his approach on 18. So what am I thinking? Maybe I saw 8 shots, 9 shots, maybe.
Right.
In that ballpark.
20% max of his shots that day, whereas those of us watching at home had the opportunity to see 100% of them. And that's the frustrating part about being at a major and not being able to follow the action like I'm used to just sitting at home. So if you're going to go to a tournament, man, Reno, first of all, never been. Heard good things. The setting seems amazing there with the mountains and the lake. And then you have the field. Patrick's gone through some of these groupings. Started with old school baseball pairing, right, with Greg Maddux, I think. Who's Maddux playing with?
He's playing with CC Sabathia and David Wells.
That's quite the Hall of Fame pitching.
I mean, these groups are outrageous, though. Like there's a lot of there's a Hall of Fame running back group with Terrell Davis, Jerome Bettis, and Emmitt Smith, but there's random ones like Canelo Alvarez is playing with Michael Pena, the actor, and Kelly Slater, the surfer. Like those are all enormous names, but just so random. And it's an insane list.
You got the last group that will probably be featured the most on TV with Charles Barkley, Larry the Cable Guy, and who else was there?
Rob Riggle.
Rob Riddle.
Yeah.
The comedian there. Yeah, interesting. That's coming up this weekend. Is that right, Patrick?
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah,
That's this
I'm
weekend.
actually looking at it. You guys want a ballpark because you're talking about going and hanging out, doing everything. You guys want a ballpark? How much tickets are? They're sold out on Saturday. It's the tickets Friday and Sunday.
Just for one day you're talking about?
It's a day. Yeah,
Single
it's a day ticket.
day
tickets. I'm looking at the AmericanCenturyChampionship.com website. Spectator information, tickets, packages, ticket information.
I guess at least 150. Maybe that's low. Patrick, what's your guess?
$300.
You guys got to think about this. Going to Tahoe, I don't know how difficult it is to find where you're somewhere to stay there. I don't know exactly what the drive is. You guys are way off.
So is it like
Cheap?
$700?
It's $30.
$30
for a ticket.
Gotcha. So they just want people there.
Yep.
Out on the golf course. And if you've made your way there, they're basically saying, oh, come on in. Okay. That's pretty
Yeah,
that's
because
good to know because I'm guessing you have to I would have to get a second mortgage just to stay a few nights in Tahoe.
I think that's part of it. Like, is that because now I'm kind of looking to see it does have a lodging because it's at Tahoe South is where it's out, and so I'll get you guys the price on just staying if I can find a price here for Tahoe South on what that's going to cost you.
Are you more likely to watch that, the Wimbledon finals on Sunday, the Euro finals / Copa America finals, NBA finals, the McGregor fight on Saturday is going to be huge. Like, it's actually a pretty massive weekend. It's just none of the major sports outside the NBA finals. There's a lot going on.
Austin and my son are pretty geared up for England, Italy. I feel weird saying that. I feel like Tim's going to banish me to the afternoon show. He's just going to. It's like get off the set and show back up at 1:00.
Those numbers. I mean, that's going to be the most watched sporting event of the year.
And Trey is with you guys. He says Euro by a marathon.
Yeah, where are they at? I got to admit, I don't know where they're at in Tour de France. Is that coming to a close? Or we?
Oh, you trying
I
to
don't
get
know.
more
I just saw that
international?
lady knock everybody over in the first round. I don't even know how long it lasts.
She got arrested, right?
But she's on the run. I think she's on the lam. Right
Oh,
now.
she's on the lam?
Yeah.
Oh, good to know.
So
Guys internationally savvy.
we were talking on the live stream about the Scottish Open, which is being played. I'll probably actually watch. John Rahm is currently in the lead at the Scottish Open, and to be honest, just watching the Scottish Open, the scenery of the course has actually been pretty neat to look at. So I'll probably get into that a little bit.
But wait. Then if you're talking about that, you're talking about what else is early morning? Wimbledon is always an early.
Wimbledon's will be Sunday morning. Yep.
So those are morning events. What about the Euro final? I'm guessing that's going to be mid-afternoon, right at 3:00 in the
It's played
NBA
in Wembley
finals.
Stadium, which is 5 hours. So I think it's like an 8 p.m. kickoff for that.
Wait, so how far? That's got to be really close to Wimbledon, right? Both in London.
Yeah, it's kind of a sweet day if you're a Brit and you got tickets to Wimbledon, and then you just head on over to Wembley Stadium pregame the soccer game with Wimbledon. That'd be sweet.
Ooh,
Big day in London.
strong little
London
strawberries and cream before you get over to the soccer match there, and then you got the NBA finals that night. So theoretically, you can do all these things, and the American Century is West Coast time, so that's an afternoon thing as well. And Trey also hit us up with the whole dang Curry family's in this thing.
Mhm.
Realized Patrick was like, yeah, the Steph Curry group's going to be the Curry group. Oh yeah, who they playing with? Oh no, it's just Del Curry, Steph Curry, and Seth Curry. Basically a father-son golf outing on the largest stage in the celebrity golf tournament. So a lot of options for sure. Out of those, I don't even know. I think they all have about the same kind of interest level from me, which is pretty low. And then I'll just have to have the correct family dynamic to get involved. You know what I mean? Like it has to be a lull in the family day to pull me in.
The just worldwide magnitude of the soccer match doesn't make you even slightly more intrigued.
No.
Like no matter what, if I know that the whole world outside of this country is going to be watching that game, I will want to watch it. Just to
Have you
kind
ever
of
watched
see
a
it.
cricket match?
The whole world doesn't watch cricket like that. This is going to be no cricket match will ever touch the ratings that this
I've
game
also never
on
played
Sunday
cricket.
is going to do. Yeah.
Or
I mean,
Yeah,
this
me
is
either.
going to be every household in Europe and South America will be watching the Brazil Argentina game. Like these are huge games.
Wait, these are happening on the same day?
Yeah, the Brazil. I think it's I don't know what time, but Brazil Argentina. These are all the four teams. England and Italy are both top 10 teams in the world playing for the European title. Argentina and Brazil are both top 10 teams in the world playing for the South American title. Messi's never won this tournament. It's going to be an enormous game for Argentina for his legacy to win that. Like the storylines are actually very cool, and they're going to be. I mean, yeah, they're going to shatter whatever the NBA Finals do. in terms
What
of
time is the
TV.
Gold Cup?
The Gold Cup's at 8:30. That's just the first game, U.S. versus Haiti. That's not going to do numbers like any of the other things will.
Is that tonight or give me
No,
some,
Sunday. All three soccer games are on Sunday. So England and Italy will play at 3:00. Brazil, Argentina will play. I'll look that up. They'll play at night, and then that is at 8. Oh, that's tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Oh,
That's
okay.
actually good. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Argentina, Brazil. That's a monster game. And then Sunday at 8:30, America
But my-
will play Haiti.
I think you just made my point for me. There is so much going on that you didn't even know what day these things are on. I don't even know which tournament is which.
No. It's not that so much is going on. It's that we care very little,
Okay.
and
that's
that
what it is.
I still want to see it. I just don't know when it's occurring.
No,
There's a di-
my point in soccer though is that, all right, am I supposed to care about national teams? I am, right? Because that's what the World Cup is. So are these same exact national playing in these events,
Yeah.
or will the World Cup teams look different?
No, they will look the same. Every one of the English play like this means everything to those teams. So Messi's playing for Argentina, Neymar's playing for Brazil. I guess those are the only names you would know. And everybody that can play for England is playing in this tournament. It's a big deal to play for. Being the champions of Europe and being the champions of your continent is a very big deal.
Wait, what? Well, didn't they just have like the Premier League finals or whatever?
Yeah, I mean
that-
that's the club. That's the club final. But it's weird. Like as
Well, that was-
You know what?
Americans,
You should
there's
go to the 1
nothing
o'clock
that
show.
really what?
This honestly should be the bet one time. We should do it, and whoever loses has to go talk soccer with Jay and Pearson for an hour and be schooled up on.
But
the
it's
sport. That
it's
Patrick
weird
would-
for our perspective. Like the club for us, your team. I mean, I guess this is a college market, so it's a little different. But like, we don't have international American football, so we never have anything to rally behind. In basketball, we're so dominant, so it's hard to find anything that compares to this. Like, we get very excited when the World Cup comes around, but it's nothing compared to what the English are going to be. Like, they are going to be. It is going to be such a party. The stadium, they're going to be singing the whole time. Like, it is a very cool event to watch. This means everything to them. The tagline has been "It's coming home" since the start of the tournament, because they haven't won a national tournament or a international tournament since 1966, and it is going to be the biggest. This is the biggest English soccer game in my lifetime for sure. It's huge. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, you say so. It sounds.
I will
to
say
me-
this: I'm going to watch because
Italy better not win, or it'll be chaos. That's what I'm.
Yeah, well, that's actually true too. I will say I will watch it because of what he just said. Like the event itself is going to be just kind of worth tuning in. I don't know if I'll catch all 90 minutes. Like I don't know if I'm going out of my way. And then the Argentina, I know who Neymar is, but I'd have totally forgotten about him being on Brazil's team. But do you guys go out like perfect example tennis? I don't know if I've ever gone out of my way to watch Djokovic or Federer or Nadal, but they're big names. I know the names. Do y'all go out of your way to catch a player that's an international superstar in their sport? Like I'll watch soccer. I'm going to watch for Messi, Argentina. And again, I probably won't watch 90 minutes, but to watch him play, just to watch him play. I don't have that problem with football, basketball, baseball because I watch those sports anyway. But the bottom line is like, yeah, I will end up watching the soccer matches because of certain players.
I mean, yeah, the weird thing. Have you seen the video of when it went to penalty kick with Argentina and Colombia the other day? The goalie that was screaming at everyone, just like chirping them aggressively. Have you seen that video?
I
I'm not.
Oh, I'll find it. It would actually fire you up. It got me pumped. But they're playing with no fans, which is kind of a bummer. But the intensity level is very much there in the Copa America. It's fun to watch, and it means a lot for Messi. Like it's actually an international story how the Argentines kind of hate Messi, even though he's one of the greatest soccer players of all time, because he's always come up short for Argentina, and he's played professionally in Spain. So it's like he's gotten all this glory, but never actually brought home a trophy for Argentina. Whereas Maradona won them World Cup. So like nothing Messi can do will live up to the legacy of Maradona, and winning tomorrow night could change that. And the ramifications are actually very big on the world stage. It's just people that don't care about soccer, it's going to be hard to convince them, but it is a great
Here's
watch.
how it works for me. Let me give you my soccer viewing experience. I turn over, I see the crowd and the energy, and I want to get in it, and then I see someone falling down who got nicked, and they roll around on the ground, and then I just
Then you turn on your baseball game, and it takes them 10 minutes to fire off the pitch. Then they'll all run outside, run out to the field, and pretend like they're going to hit each other, but they all have holdback guys, and they're pretend fake fighting. And
that happens like once
much better.
every season, maybe. How many times does a guy fall down in a soccer match and ride around on the ground and then pop right back up and he's fine? It happens.
I mean, we watch basketball, and
dozen
guys
times a
flop like
game.
crazy too. Basketball's gotten just as bad.
Because they've been watching too much soccer. These guys are too much
Sure.
nationally schooled these days. Look, and that's the other thing too. You said about the great players. I would love to do that if I was guaranteed to see those guys have an opportunity to show their greatness. In soccer, it just happens so infrequently. I don't have the patience for it.
For scoring, but I mean, every time Messi touches the ball, it's like something awesome happens on the field. He's always setting somebody up or doing something special.
But we keep score in sports. That's the whole point. In baseball, at least I know I'm going to get 4 at-bats for the best player in each game. I'm going to see he's going to have the opportunity.
Yeah, and you're going to see Messi touch the ball 50 times in the course of the game.
Right, and then you're going to tell me his greatness is going to lead to no scoring? Well, who cares? Who cares if he's
Might not.
in an amazing mood? It didn't lead to a goal. Doesn't matter. It didn't affect the outcome.
Might lead to scoring. That's like
Yeah,
saying
it could.
You get to watch. What is it? You get to watch. I don't know. Whoever your baseball guy is right now. What's the guy's name out for the Angels that you guys said I couldn't pronounce
Ohtani.
yesterday? Ohtani. You
And
watch him 4
Trace-
times. His 4 at bats may not lead to any scores. So are you not going to watch?
No, you're not hearing what I'm saying. When he is great in that at bat, it leads to score. He hits a home run. It's very, very simple. A great move in soccer or showing the greatest might not necessarily lead to a score. Trey says, Timothy, imagine if we let one thing we disliked about a sport ruin everything we like about it. This is not just one thing. It is antithetical to competition to overhype getting rubbed the wrong way or touched and then completely selling it like you are going to be out for the next 7 years at injury. That's
I got to admit.
I mean, I agree. It stinks. But
yes,
they-
but I will say this, Patrick, and Tim, Patrick, I'm going to defend you and this. The soccer that I've watched lately, I haven't seen the flopping like they're talking about. As a matter of fact, did you see in hockey the other night? I don't know if you guys caught this. Maybe you didn't watch. It was the last game, Game 5. They actually called 2 penalties, and one of them was embellishment, which I guess is what they should start calling it, but embellishment on a Canadiens player because he got hit and it looked like he got shot, like just flopped back to the ice.
Mhm.
So, it happens across the board. Soccer got a bad rap because I think it did happen a lot more, but lately watching soccer, some of those guys are getting like hit pretty hard. Like, you go to the ground. I was watching one guy went up for a header the other day and kind of like got his legs cut out from under him and landed on his back and, banged his head on the ground. He rolled around for a little while, but I got to admit, that happens to
That's
me.
the
I'm going to roll
compliment.
around the ground for a little while. I don't think.
he only rolled around for a little while. That's
Well, but I mean, but no, I mean, it's kind of like, what was the old, was it Jake Bentley against Kentucky when the Kentucky defensive lineman actually
tapped his helmet and he just collapsed.
Walked by him and sneezed, and Bentley looked like, a ghost shoved him down or something. But so it happens across sports. I don't, soccer gets a bad rap because but again, you also start messing with your knees and your ankles. I think people get a little bit more concerned about that. So I'll defend
All right,
that
Patrick.
for a second and say that soccer
Maybe I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll give it a shot this weekend, and I will give you my full, honest assessment coming up on Monday. But I'm not promising anything. That's all I'll say. That's where I'm at. 803-404-61. Bunch of you weighing in. I think most of you on Patrick's side on this thing. Trey and James certainly on that side. Hope says I can have soccer on, but just sitting and watching like I do football, I just can't do. I hear you on that one. 404 6100 again. James is all pumped up. The Euro final, the Copa final, Gold Cup starting soon. That's another, again, part of my problem. How many things do I have to keep up with? How many international political things do I have to understand the context of to watch a game?
I would understand the anti-soccer argument if you weren't arguing for baseball, the most boring sport to watch.
That's Patrick Perret, ladies and gentlemen. How dare you speak about the national pastime? That's clearly not the national pastime anymore. Football's overtaken a long time ago. I'll fake my outrage more as we continue to roll on this morning. It's the early game here on 107.5.
You're clear. All right, sleep number.
Bill, your sleep number here?
No, I thought no, because we didn't do the first break. I thought you
Sleep number.
needed a great night of sleep to gear myself up for that soccer conversation. Wasn't exactly sure if I was going to be able to sustain, but then you get that great night of sleep, set the sleep number setting on 45, and you know what? Woke up rested, refreshed, ready for a full morning of soccer conversation. You need to do the same. With a sleep number bed, you can get a fantastic night of sleep and be ready to go each and every day. All you need to do is make the switch to Sleep Number today. 2 stores to choose from, one in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings, the other in Columbia 2 Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. Again, you can visit both and make the switch to Sleep Number today. Great deals going on right now. Discover proven quality sleep during the lowest prices of the season sale. All of Sleep Number 360 smart beds are on sale starting at $899 plus special financing, but it ends Monday. Subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. Only at a Sleep Number store. So make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like. That was some entertainment as I searched drastically for that for the script that I had for Sleep Number. I was just ballparking that sucker. But it worked. It worked. It's hot sitting right here. Tim disappears. Patrick's doing Patrick just switched his it looked like he just switched his camera. Yeah, that was wild. The Sleep Number's got a script that I actually have to read specific things. Everything else I know the script and I get to ad lib. Sleep Number I've actually got to say certain things, and they that was a situation where they're not happy if I don't say certain things. And so I have to read a disclaimer, and I couldn't find it in my emails, but I got to it. We got Simon on the text line telling Tim to get off his lawn. Tim being an old man, soccer is so much fun to watch if you have an open mind. Do you have to have an open mind? Yeah, thank you, Whit. I was the email that I had to find was from June 29th.
Does somebody want to do a spot coming into this segment so that we can just do 2 because we already went past 20?
Nah, we'll be good. Let's keep it the same. Means you just have to be more succinct with your gas baggy hot takes.
Okay, I mean, all of these breaks are going to be super short going forward.
Super short?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There really aren't a lot of spots in this hour.
Good. We're good.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patrick. I just saw
right, we're-
private chat. You can get in.
You're up.
So if a receiver makes an insane one-hand catch and the drive doesn't lead to points, does that make the catch less impressive? Good question, Jordan. No, it does not, is the question. Or is the answer. Football, the great plays lead to scoring much more often than in soccer. That was my point earlier about being frustrated watching soccer. I want to tune in and see greatness and then follow the storyline. Like, the more great plays you have, you should win the game. And I guess typically that happens in soccer, but not necessarily.
Wait a minute. Just on this theory. So you're saying a great goalie performance in soccer or hockey, because it doesn't lead to scoring, you're out?
No, that has a direct effect on scoring, though, right? That keeps the goal from going in. And then you do that more often than the team, you should win. Soccer is it's such a game of ball control that it loses me a lot of times. Does that make any sense? I know you guys think I'm just being an old man here, and Bill, I feel like you're doing that fake thing where you're joining Patrick today in the argument. Simon says, an old man, soccer is so much fun to watch if you have an open mind. Get off your lawn, Tim.
Well, I'm not doing that. I'll admit the recently, and then this will happen at the World Cup too. I will get into the World Cup. I don't just watch like MLS soccer or the Premier League or all that other stuff. Like, I guess I'm more of a nations, or like kind of like Patrick was saying. I don't watch a lot of club soccer, but I will. I couldn't tell you who any of these guys play for in their clubs, but I have gotten into, and some of it's the pageantry of a nation coming together. Like Patrick said. Sunday afternoon in Wembley, it's going to be really cool to see those fans, and I'm still kind of stuck on that. I think that's what drew me back into hockey initially, was watching like the Islanders and their fans pull for each other, pull for their team. But no, soccer I'll get into on the national level when you get stuff like this. But it's also kind of in the same boat. I'm big on just kind of being outside and having the TV on outside, but not necessarily watching a game. Does that make sense? Like, I like it on as background filler. It's kind of, y'all made fun of me for the last 2 years as we've kind of done the really, since Patrick came on, I shouldn't say even the pandemic stay at home stuff. I'm not a movie guy. Like, I don't really get into movies. I'd rather have like some kind of sporting event on in the background as I'm kind of flipping through my phone or doing whatever else I do.
I feel like Patrick's so frustrated with me in this conversation. He's checked out here. Chris says, I didn't get into soccer until after playing FIFA with my son, LOL.
It helps to know the names.
It does.
But this will be, if England is losing during the second half, it will be must-watch television. You're going to see the most defeated and broken human beings you've ever seen in a sporting event. No, I'm serious. This game is in Wembley Stadium.
No, it's your enjoyment of it, or your enthusiasm of just even describing the situation.
The crying Duke kid is going to have nothing on the grown men that are holding each other and crying at Wembley Stadium on Sunday afternoon if England does not win this game. It is going to be a disaster.
A bunch of you continue to weigh in on this thing, Zach. Brazil versus Argentina is like Clemson versus Carolina, but instead of two universities hating each other, it's two countries. It gets intense. My wife is Brazilian, and they hate Argentina. I'm with you if you have a stake in it, too. Like, being able to watch it through someone else's eyes and see their passion involved in it, then I get that. Patrick, anonymous exercise. I love soccer. MLS, Premier League, men's national team from the U.S., but until the flopping stops and they stop the clock every time needed instead of the extra time added on that no one knows when it's ending, the U.S. will never be big in soccer viewing. American football plays a physical game. Soccer can be physical also, but the grabbing of the leg and rolling around like you're on fire has to stop.
Okay, well, the NBA is growing in popularity with younger audiences. Soccer is growing in popularity for younger audiences, and if the extra time being added on at the end is what's derailing people from watching soccer, then we're not very smart human beings. I mean, it's very simple. But I agree. Flopping stinks. I don't like the flopping. I'm not defending the floppings. Don't make it seem like I'm defending the flopping. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't a part of the game, but it's not the only sport that they do it.
Donnie, watching soccer is like watching two football teams punt the ball back and forth, hoping someone breaks for a touchdown. Clinton, my issue with soccer is if in football, the wide receiver gets behind the defense, he's offsides and the play is dead. I'll still watch these two games, though. LOL.
call into it.
Multiple opinions. We see you calling the Love Chevy phone lines this morning, 803-404-6100. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game. All right, I can give you, it's a good time to be a soccer fan, clearly, coming up this weekend with a bunch of options. I don't know if that's going to sway me or not. I do know that has got me interested in the housing market right now, for sure. And Beaufort Lending has proven to me that they are the lender that I need to go with, because not only have they been there for me every step of the way in my process, looking to expand, now that the family's expanding, looking for a new house and looking to relocate, but also I've come to understand that Benji Getzi and company, they've been doing it for almost 25 years, and they can help you out no matter your situation. Maybe you're looking to refinance, or you're looking for a VA loan or a second house. Maybe you're looking to remodel or construction or renovation loan. Whatever you're looking for, Benji Getzi and company have done it. And Benji has proven to me that he'll be there with me throughout the process, every step of the way. And that's really what I need in a lender. You're going to get great numbers right now, and Beaufort Lending is confident that they can get you the best deal. But I'm here to tell you that they will also be there with you and by your side through the process, exactly how you need your lender to be. Give them a call. That's Beaufort Lending, Benji Getzi, 843-524-2404.
All
What
this
does add me in bill mean on the
does what?
add me in?
Oh, when I get your I was trying to know what I was trying to add me back in.
Gotcha.
Because I'm doing this. So I can add myself back in.
Gotcha. So what were you saying? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you going to say?
I'm arguing about soccer, and I'm more than likely not going to be able to watch any sports this week, and it's going to tear me apart inside not being able to watch it.
Why do you think you won't be able to watch anything in Tampa?
So being Tampa, and I think chances are what it looks like is it's going to be nice during the day and then rain at night. So at 3 o'clock, the chances that I'll be able to convince her and her whole family to sit inside and watch a soccer match are pretty low.
Take them down to they should take y'all down to Riverwalk.
Is the
There's a
soccer
lot of,
match
like-
going to be on?
Huh?
Is the soccer match going to be on?
Oh, I guarantee. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, tell a waitress. Are you one of those guys that if there's multiple TVs, you won't tell a waitress, hey, do you mind if we turn that TV to?
No, I would do that, but I can't guarantee we would be an establishment at 3 p.m.
I think Tampa's a pretty big kind of international city. I'm guessing they got a lot of soccer.
Yeah, but I have to be in front of the television. If they say we're going to be out like on the beach or whatever, I don't.
Okay, I'll go to Clearwater. I'll tell you this: there's a couple like little bars you can just walk in.
I'm going to do everything I can to watch it.
Like there's a Clearwater's fun. There's a couple like you can walk in, say, "Hey, I'm walking in to get a drink," or you can do what my great uncle used to do when he got annoyed with us. He'd go to the bar and take a shot. He'd just walk away.
It's a great line from Les.
I mean, something will happen. Like 2 of the 3 of the 4 quarterfinals, and then 1 of the semifinals went to penalty kicks, and nothing's better than penalty kicks.
But it's also the dumbest way to decide a final, isn't it?
I mean, they do it in hockey too.
A winner. Yeah, but at least in hockey, it resembles like a breakaway.
Sort of. Soccer, it resembles a free kick.
Right, the closest possible free kick with no one in your way.
Yeah. It's a nerves game.
It's so stacked against the goalie, though, man.
It is stacked against the goalie.
Oh, big time, yeah. But that's why it's the nerves of the kick taker. The kick taker should never miss, but you see them just hang it wide or overthink it and kick it right
Oh, I
to the
know.
goal.
Well, but even then, you had like what happened with Harry Kane for England to advance the other day when.
Yeah, but that can't happen in penalty kicks.
Oh, I see what just penalty.
What
kicks.
happened?
The goalie saved this was a penalty kick during the course of the game, and the goalie
Right.
saved it, but it was an unfortunate bounce that bounced right in the path of him running in, and he knocked his own rebound in.
Oh, wow. On the PK? Was it a PK too?
Yeah, it was a penalty
Well,
kick.
it was what Patrick. It was in overtime, and
was in extra
and
time,
so
yeah.
like it was very close to the end of the game.
Wow. Yeah, exactly, Chris. Good point. You got to tell the girlfriend's family it's for your job, man.
That's right.
Got to go to work.
All right. We're back.
Is Kenny's on the line, right? We should get to him.
Yeah, you're up.
Very strong opinions on both sides of the soccer argument right now with the big weekend of international soccer coming up. Patrick says he's pumped and then is also admitting on the live video stream that he might not be able to watch any of it because of the plans on the weekend for traveling, going up to Tampa, or up to Tampa, he says down to Tampa, with some extended folks or folks in the girlfriend and the extended family. Les hits us up, says soccer's a track meet with a ball where nothing happens when the race is over. Just had anonymous texter hit us up. I used to hate soccer. Now I love it. Only behind football. Side note, my daughter was awarded All-American yesterday, the only girl in South Carolina to win All-American in high school. Good for you and your daughter, sir. And I think they're certainly not alone in coming to soccer, maybe later in life. See, I'm the opposite. I used to play a bunch of soccer growing up. And my parents finally admitted to me after I was an adult, like, the whole soccer games, man.
My parents said the same thing about me playing baseball, youth baseball.
Interesting. Maybe that is defining where we are right now in our attitudes towards soccer. Let's not make it all about us, Patrick. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines now. Kenny would like to weigh in this morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, gentlemen. Appreciate you having me on. I love soccer as well. Big soccer fan. I have a question for Patrick because I figure he'd probably know a little more on it than
Definitely.
Tim and you will. But hey, quick question. But then I have a statement first I'd like to make. Patrick, I disagree with you on the time thing. I mean, we all agree the flop has got to stop. But I think it was a game the other day. I think it was England and Denmark when they played the extra time, the extra 30 minutes, and then they put, 2 or 3 minutes extra time on it. And we're 2 minutes after the extra time and it's still going. And if England would have scored, I think England was home then. If they'd have scored at that time, you'd had people already saying that, it's fixed. There's no dead time. So I do think that there should be a dead time. If something happens on the field, stop the clock and then let it be at any time. They do that here in South Carolina for the high school league. And I think it works well. When the game is over. So, and it's not when it's on one end and they got a corner kick, let's give them the corner or let's do this. But it's a time frame. And I would love to see them do that a little bit. And my question to you, Patrick, is Carolina's new coach, Tony, I think Annan is the name. What's your thoughts on him?
To the point of the extra time. So, yeah, that the deal is, like, if the ball is in an attacking area, if there's 3 minutes of extra time and the ball's in an attacking area, they're going to kind of let it play out. And then as soon as the ball is cleared, you're gonna blow the whistle. Yep. So I mean, the whole time England was attacking, they're basically in the box, and the ref was gonna let that sort of play out. And then
that doesn't make any sense, though. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
It's up to the ref's discretion. It's how the game is.
Either we're keeping score and things are black and white, or they're not. That's what I love about sports, that it's not a discretionary thing. Hey, these guys might score here, so let's keep it going, guys.
Baseball is up to whether the ump wants to call it a strike or a ball.
Right. He doesn't say, I'm not sure. Let's throw another one. Let's keep it going here.
But he's wrong.
No, but he has to stand by it and make a call.
I will say on the extra time thing, and this is where I can kind of get on board with the people who say it's ridiculous. There are things you can do in that to manipulate the time. So, for example, like Patrick, if the ball's kicked out of bounds, you can walk really slowly to go get the ball. Like, it's not like football where there's a play clock. Like, when there's a play clock, you can walk really slowly to go get the ball. Then you get it. You kind of stare at the ball. You can take a good.
And that's why they exaggerate injuries. Like they'll roll around, slowly get up because they're trying to kill time. So that's why they add extra time so that you don't get the benefit of milking the clock.
Right.
Yeah, but if
my
they
point
add
is you
extra
don't-
time,
so now
there should be a clock, and everybody should know it, and it should tick down. And when it hits 0, you're done.
There is, but so everyone knew that when England was attacking, the Denmark fans are saying, just get it out, because they know as soon as the ball's cleared,
It's not a clock
whistle's
thing.
being blown and the game's over. Everyone knows that.
But the clock should be the determining factor, not.
I mean, I don't hate that idea, but the only disagreement I had with that text was just that soccer is never going to grow in America until they have a set clock. It's like, okay, well, if that's the only thing stopping the growth of soccer in America, then that's ridiculous.
Just this conversation and the people that have come to and defended soccer shows that it's growing. Like I feel like 5 years ago, you'd have had more people like, nah, I'm not watching.
Well, there's a ton of
any
people like you,
international
Bill. When did you start watching these Euros? The semifinals?
Yeah.
And it kind of hooked you?
After we
A
talked-
lot of people have gotten hooked in the last round.
Well,
or
no,
two.
I started watching in the group stages. I
Okay.
started watching in some of the group, but I really only started watching because you started talking about it a little bit. And it was on in the afternoon.
Yeah,
it was something to kind of watch.
That's
in the
another big thing too. Like the amount of television exposure in our country for soccer has grown a lot, and also that it's on off hours, and you can be in your workday and turn soccer on, and you can have a distraction. I think people are all into that as well. The other question from Kenny was about USC men's soccer new coach and Tony Annan, and he has a history of being in Atlanta and part of their club program and professional program as well. I don't think Patrick is too familiar with him and would admit to being a bit out of his depth. But clearly, if you become the second coach in the history of the University of South Carolina, following up the great run that Mark Burson had, you're qualified. I'm sure it'll be. I was surprised that they kind of went out of college soccer, quote college soccer. I realize he's been coaching youth soccer and kind of that age for a long time and developing players in that way. I mean, we haven't seen anything like this, Bill, where there's just been one coach in the history of a program at South Carolina for decades, and now you got to follow that up. Maybe the last coach that had to follow up such a tremendous run was Chad Holbrook after the Ray Tanner championship. So large shoes to fill, and will be really interesting to see what happens with the program for sure.
How long was Burson at South Carolina?
I think it was
26 years.
No, I think it was more than that, man. I think it might have stretched 5 different decades. It was.
Oh no, I'm
crazy
sorry,
numbers.
43. 43 seasons as head coach. Okay, I was just wondering because he 43. That would put him at 1980. And when did Krzyzewski take over at Duke?
82, I want to say, somewhere in there. Maybe it's
Like
84.
Krzyzewski, I want to say he's coming up. I know that Duke's had other basketball coaches and other successful basketball coaches. I think Bill Foster, won a national championship or something to that. He took over in 1980. So, I mean, again, it's just interesting because you look at Krzyzewski leaving, and to me, that's the only coach at Duke I've known in my lifetime. I've seen other coaches at Alabama that have been successful. Gene Stallings. I just say that as programs that are at a very high level. But like it is kind of similar now seeing Krzyzewski go on his farewell tour and just comparing that to Mark Burson being at South Carolina as the only coach for 43 years.
You guys' argument about this extra time thing is weak. Steven and Tony both pointed out extra time is like time expiring when the ball is in the air in football. It can still be caught and win or won. And Tony says football plays last after the clock runs out. Yeah, but we all know it's the last play. And I get it. Now you're going to tell me that, if it's a defensive penalty, then you keep going. But it's all right there in front of us as opposed
But it's like
to
a play. It is like a play in soccer. When the ball is in the attacking zone, if it's in the box and they're dribbling around or ready to cross, like that is the equivalent of a play in soccer. And everyone knows that it's like that is the play.
right. And if they hit
Just
it,
because they don't set the ball down and snap it and then it's over. Like it's still, when you're watching the game, you understand that is the play.
yeah,
This is the attack, the last attack that they're going to allow, and then they're going to blow the whistle once the ball is cleared.
But that's the thing. You take a shot, it's deflected, and then you regain control and you keep it in the attacking area. That's not the play continues, right?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody you bounce into a linebacker but stay on your feet, like you're still running, the play's still going on.
All right, let me
Lateral
ask
the
you this.
ball, like things happen. Like it's just the same thing. Like there's not a dead stop to a play in soccer like that unless the ball goes out of bounds. But when you're watching the game, if you know soccer, like they're gonna kill it after this attack is over.
All right. I want to wrap the conversation because I know we got to hit a break. But Patrick, if you could choose in England, because it's been brought to my attention to maybe do a Europe trip here on the private text line, and I actually am kind of on board with this. Go to England, go to Scotland, something like that. Play a round or two of golf, catch a soccer match, because a soccer match in person does seem like it would be a pretty intense environment. What is the one soccer in England, not in Spain, not in Italy, all that other stuff? What is the one soccer venue in England that would be a must go to?
It would be Old Trafford in Manchester. That's where you'd want to go. Manchester United.
Old Trafford.
But
Right.
chances are you'd probably make your trip in London, and then you'd choose between probably Arsenal or Chelsea if you want like a more traditional. But Tottenham did just build the newest and most advanced high-tech new stadium, so that would also be pretty sweet. But I would want to go to Manchester United. Perhaps Liverpool would be Manchester United or Liverpool is the answer.
I said one, and you just
I'm saying
off
one is Old Trafford, Manchester United, but that's because that's the team that I like. So
This is what soccer guys do, and he used perhaps in there. We got to take a break. It's the early game. It's 107.5 the game, perhaps.
107.5 the game. The game is on the air, online, on your phone or tablet, on the app, Alexa, Siri, in your
weekend, which raises the question, is your air conditioner ready to handle that? If not, don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Roy and Dana Finley took care of me. They came out here during the month of, I think it was April, the beginning of April. It was before it got hot, because we wanted to make sure the air conditioner was working. The kids were going to be home for the summer. Wanted to make sure everything was ready to go when it got like this, like it's getting this weekend. Don't wait any longer. You know August is not going to be friendly when you talk about going outside. It's going to be very warm. Make sure your air conditioner is working, because then your family's happy. They're happy for you. They're happy that you're taking care of them. Don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today. If they come out and they find an issue, here's what they'll do. They'll offer you a $1,500 rebate to take away your old unit, then work with you. 0% financing, no money down on a brand new unit. And on top of all that, if something goes wrong with that new unit they supplied you with, 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure you feel comfortable. That's taking care of you. That's taking care of your family. Give AAA Heating and Air a call today, 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Didn't see this coming in hour 3 today, but it's been fun. See what Mark.
Hour 3. That is when you know we're into the summer.
So Mark said that the show's taking him back to when we first started it, and where I used to be the antagonist more often. Nobody's playing the antagonist, Mark. Come on. I'm just getting old and soft. Patrick's still bringing it strong.
No, he's very. I think the anger that he is not going to be able to watch the stuff this weekend has started to boil over. Now he's starting to.
I was so annoyed in the middle of the conversation. Somebody called in and said, "All right, so how it works is the referee adds up how much time has gone off." And I was like, "Dude, I know that. That's not even what we're talking about." I said, "We're talking about this." And he said, "Okay, so what that is?" I said, "I know. Hey, listen, I know what it is." He said, "Okay." He said, "I played college soccer, so I'd know." I said, "Okay, well, I know too. I've already said this. Like, I get it. Thank you. Bye."
See, and that's another thing that annoys me about soccer snobs, man. Oh, the snobbery in soccer.
I 100% agree with that. People that watch the English Premier League think they are better than you. That is true.
Alan, agreed. Force some offense in this thing, man. Force some. Just once you get past midfield, you can't go backwards, or what do you call it? Icing. You can call it icing that way. And call it icing just to really tick off the soccer snobs.
It's just the way that a weaker team can be able to compete with a stronger team too. Just possessing the ball and being more careful with it and valuing possession more.
I do think this idea of going across the pond and playing around the golf at some of those courses or something, playing 2 rounds of golf and catching a soccer match would actually be a pretty good.
You can't do it during the summer though. I went to London. It was after I graduated high school, and when we were there, all of the English teams were in America for their little American summer tour. It's the only time of the year.
When would you typically do it? Spring?
You'd want to do it in the fall or spring, yeah.
And you want to stop saying across the
Windsor,
pond, too.
Windsor Boxing Day would be a big one. The day after Christmas is the biggest Premier League day of the year.
That seems cold.
It's cold.
Yeah, so I'm not.
Tottenham plays in a dome, though, I think. Yeah.
I think Robert gets the show. He texts in, Patrick, they just don't get it. Fight's a good fight with 3 soccer ball emojis and a video of a dude rolling around a soccer player.
Sergio Busquets. He clearly
Oh, yeah.
got his face just pummeled by someone's knee or their cleat or something. He's
Whoa,
not
I
faking
thought.
it.
Oh, really? I thought he was like looking to see if anybody. He opens his hands over his
Yeah,
eyes.
I mean, that might be what that
You
is.
know?
That's clearly what he's doing. But yeah.
He's peeking to see if anybody's paying attention to him, faking it. That's what I'm getting. See, I thought Robert was the rare soccer fan that was having a sense of humor about the game, but soccer snobbery is just.
Everyone knows that it happens, and I think we all wish it would happen less. But that doesn't detract from the sport. Like that's not a reason
with
to
you on
not
this.
watch it. It's a crazy reason to just say I'm not watching this.
So who are you
Speaking
taking
of
this
less.
weekend? England or Italy?
I will be cheering hard for England. My grandmother is full English. I have a lot of English in me.
You mean in the game that you won't be watching, you'll be cheering hard for England?
I mean, I'll be following it on my
Checking his
phone.
phone.
Yeah.
Every 5 minutes.
Doing
I
the best
will,
I can.
I
I'll
will
make
be
sure that I have a full
updating
battery.
hard for
Yeah.
England. I will be reloading, refreshing very hard.
Chances are I will have it on the Watch ESPN app and watching it on my phone.
All right.
And then some of you have. Go ahead.
Hold on. See, we don't have enough time for that conversation. Is it more inappropriate for Patrick to ask the people he's with to go somewhere and watch the game, or to sit there by himself, staring at his phone, watching the soccer match?
It's a great point. I think you got to do one or the other. I think you got to suggest it, and if that is turned down by the group, then you're allowed to be that guy. Watch your phone a little bit more. If you don't even mention it at all, then you're just being rude. How are you planning on handling it, Patrick? Is the question.
I'll follow it the best I can on my phone if we're out, assuming we're out doing something. But if it hits the point where it's still tied in like the 70th minute, or especially if it's tied going into extra time, I'm going to say I'm going to the nearest watering hole and I'm sitting down for.
Wait a second. So you say you're going with the girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
To her family?
Yeah, her brother.
Have you ever met this part of the?
I met her parents. I never met her brother.
Okay, is it possible that he could be a soccer guy and you guys could bond over this?
It would have been possible, but I asked. I've already asked about this, and none of them like soccer. It's a bunch of
Sounds like you got to.
Just go to
Sounds
an
like you got to keep her.
establishment that's got multiple televisions.
If we're at an establishment, then sure, but we're only there for really like one full day. So I mean, there's a chance she's like, we'll go to Ybor City and walk around. Like if we're out,
Well, he's going to be the weird soccer guy to the family. He's going to be that guy.
I'm not even a soccer guy. I'm a sports guy. I guess I'm a bigger. I just like more sports than you guys. I don't poo-poo any sports. I like.
I'm with you on this. I'm watching the soccer this weekend. I'm actually gonna. Of the three of us, I'm the one most likely to show up Monday morning, being
Having
able
watched
to
the game.
completely
Yes.
talk
Correct.
about the game.
The anti-soccer snob is who Patrick is. I think we need to end this week with maybe the greatest sports fan I've ever heard of. You guys see this guy who got kicked out of the Scottish Open? It's this morning. He made the move to go grab a club out of Rory McIlroy's bag and start taking some swings. That was amazing. I'm watching it right now. Looks like Irish Golfer Magazine. Let's see. I'm trying to take.
Of course, that's a popular one.
It's McIlroy and John Rahm, and this dude just walks right by, grabs the head cover. The caddy's right there and doesn't do anything. He grabs an iron next. Rory McIlroy just looks at him like, what's going on? And this guy just takes a couple of swings, and then the security comes and gets him.
Paid good money for that ticket. He deserves it.
All right, where
Good
is this?
for
Is this
you,
on Twitter?
sir.
Tell everybody where you saw this.
At Irish Golfer Mag, where you can see this video, and it's in true golf fashion. Ultimately, like the caddy just kind of puts his hands up and looks at security like, "Are you guys going to do anything here?" They're like, "Our show."
Clear.
I'm gonna retweet this immediately. This is brilliant. A dude in a vest and short sleeves, with his hands in his pockets, walks by, tries to grab the driver with the club head or the cover, and misses.
I'm watching it.
Fantastic.
The reaction of McElroy is like, and then they're just looking around like, yeah, is anybody going to do something about this? Like,
He was smart. He would have done like asked him for another club. You want another club?
yeah, he should have said
If
ball.
you're gonna get kicked out, at least swing the driver. Here you go.
It would have been if he'd have been able to pull it straight out of the bag and just smoothly got on over, he'd have been fine.
Exactly. He missed. He whiffed. I agree, Alan. We're gonna have fun on Monday for sure about all this. Appreciate
the argument in the 6 o'clock hour.
I feel pressure to watch the soccer matches now.
Wait a second. Patrick, are you going to be doing the Monday show? Are you good to do it or no?
Oh no, I won't be here. Actually, I won't even be on the show next week.
You may just have to call in or hop on the live stream. If you should be able to get on your phone and just hop
At
on
least-
for a second for a Patrick live stream appearance, and that's a
Or
that's a
at least
sell for the live
update
stream.
us and tweet on Sunday about it. How you're taking it in or not.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that because I'm doing Heath's show next week, so I literally won't be on the show for another 10 days. So
Another 10 days.
Yeah, he's doing
a
next
week
week.
from Monday. Yeah.
Next week he's doing Heath. We'll actually do our jobs, Bill.
All right.
Handle that.
Dave's out next week.
Thank you guys for checking it out. And yeah, we'll make it an epic show on Monday, one way or the other, with or without Patrick. He's got Slack.
I'll have my computer with me, my phone.
Beautiful. All right, guys, on the live stream, thanks for helping us out. Thanks for tuning us in, and we'll see you on Monday.